It is 10:01. Good morning from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. Nashville Soccer Club kicked off 2026 with a 2-0 win at Atletico Ottawa in CONCACAF Champions Cup play on Tuesday. Ubens Passius and Sam Surridge, the goal scorers. NSC begins MLS regular season play Saturday at Geodis Park, hosting New England. At the Winter Olympics in Milan Cortina, multiple Nashville Predators face off in the knockout round of men's hockey today. UC Saros, Eric and the Finnish national team take on Roman Josi, Switzerland. Puck drop is coming up at 11:10, and later today, the United States men's squad will face up with Philip Forsberg and Sweden at 2:10 p.m. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Good morning. Hope you're off to a great start on this Wednesday. We're happy to have you for the next 3 hours. Brian Daboll is going to speak to the media. Gus Bradley is going to speak to the media. He feels like a bit of an afterthought in all this, doesn't he, Gus Bradley?
Yeah, Daboll is obviously the headline today.
Well, Daboll may be the biggest thing that they acquire. I would argue even more important than Robert Saleh, though maybe you don't get Daboll without Saleh in this offseason. So Titans fans are understandably excited about hearing from their offensive coordinator for the first time this offseason, and I will be at that press conference, and Lucas and Robert will recap that press conference after its conclusion. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to participate at any point. Y'all are just going to have the Daboll one, right? Not Gus Bradley? I don't think there's any great need.
Yeah, we will, since we cannot play it live, we will run it as soon as it's over. So Daboll will be speaking on our airwaves while Gus Bradley is talking.
Okay, very good. F&M Bank Chat, also available for you. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is where you can get involved via the F&M Bank Chat. Now, spring training in Major League Baseball does start on Friday.
That's an upset.
We are, leading with baseball?
Yeah, that 3 minutes into the show, spring training in Major League Baseball just came out of one of our mouths.
Well, this is a very unique story that feels like we are uniquely equipped to talk about it in some form or fashion because it's not actual baseball discussion, which, famously, we don't really do. But Tony Clark, you familiar with Tony Clark in any way, shape, or form? He is the longtime head of the Major League Baseball Players Association, so the players union in the MLB. He resigned yesterday in the culmination of, first reported by The Athletic, for what it's worth, of a 4-day, what they're describing as a whirlwind that sources said began after an internal inquiry revealed an inappropriate relationship with an employee. Now, there has been additional reporting as to the nature of that employee and Tony Clark's familial relationship with that employee. In a tweet that, I'm blanking on, Jeff Passan. Jeff Passan, who is the Adam Schefter for baseball at ESPN, provided the additional context that the employee is Tony Clark's sister-in-law. So this is a very, very convoluted love triangle situation that has also happened at the same time that he faces a federal investigation. So he's getting hit on both sides at this point in time by the Eastern District of New York for his handling of union finances. So there's financial misappropriations, there's infidelity, and now a resignation as of yesterday. Now, we were talking about this because, again, this is the extent of our baseball coverage for the season. Is there, this is a particularly scandalous story involving a figure in sports and infidelity. Lucas maintains that the biggest sports infidelity story of our lifetimes, and again, he's 30, I'm 32. Robert, you're 32? You're like a month younger than me, I think.
You never ask a woman their age or their weight.
You
Sir.
are not 32.
What do you mean?
You're 36 at least.
Yeah, well, it's just the grays in my beard. It's getting bad.
Yeah, the the biggest one is Tiger Woods. It's not even close.
I don't think that's true.
It is extremely true.
Now, Tiger Woods has a couple of things going for it. One, he's one of the most famous athletes on the planet, not just in the country, but on the planet.
Yes, which is a part of why it is the biggest infidelity sports story of our lifetimes.
Two, it felt like it coincided with the real mainstream usage of Twitter and social media, which, of course, just gasoline on the flame of that particular situation, and the additional context that Lucas pointed out earlier as we were talking about this before the show started, the sheer amount of women who had connections to Tiger Woods via his infidelity. It's very public. It's very unpleasant. It did impact his career for a considerable amount of time. He did end up winning the Masters. What was the final Masters win for him? 19?
19. But it was this great comeback story, right? Like the Masters, that win was kind of a blip in the radar in what was ultimately the beginning of the end of Tiger Woods as the greatest golfer we've ever seen for many people.
Now, I will acknowledge that was the most mainstream sports infidelity story that I can remember. Kobe and Roethlisberger were up there for a couple of different reasons. Now, that goes beyond infidelity into, sexual assault and stuff like that, which, of course, gets very uncomfortable to talk about. I don't want to call it the one that stands out the most to me as the most outrageous, my favorite or something like that, because obviously it's a terrible situation. But the details on the Earl Thomas thing a couple of years ago, I think we were on the air when that broke, that he and his brother were having sexual relations with a woman that was not Earl Thomas's wife, that the wife of Earl Thomas then walked in on and pulled a gun on them.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
They can hear you on my microphone. Don't worry.
It's okay. They heard it. I asked Google what is the biggest. Okay, here was how I had to frame it. Because if you say cheating or infidelity, it's going to give you cheating scandals like PEDs or sign stealing or what have you. So I said, what is the biggest sports stories where the athlete cheated on their spouse? Number one, Tiger Woods, 2009, the story, yada, yada. Then this one that I wasn't aware of, but I'm sure Lucas is. Ryan Griggs, the Manchester United icon, was involved in Giggs, excuse me, in a long-term scandal that shocked the UK. He had an 8-year affair with Natasha Griggs, the wife of his brother.
Yeah. That was insane. That he is one of the greatest figures in Manchester United history, and talk about tarnishing a legacy. Yeah, that was a big one.
Well, one that's very local is McNair.
That's number 3.
The McNair, because of the murder-suicide situation, the continued, I feel like there's every 5 years we get a reopening, a cold case type of situation where somebody wants to do a podcast series on the McNair murder, which is, I'm sure, exhausting for the family and everybody involved, and it's a deeply unpleasant story for a variety of different reasons. But, McNair, what was the year that happened? Because I remember July 4th.
9.
And Tiger happened when?
2009.
Right after.
9.
Oh, really? In the same year? That's crazy. Because I think they're kind of one. Tiger is obviously a more famous person internationally than Steve McNair. So Tiger probably still, takes a lot more oxygen in that specific space, but the McNair thing is still talked about.
Sharon Moore is a crazy recent one. That's the most recent one for sure. It's never a good thing when we're talking baseball on the show, because it just means that something has happened in the MLB or Rob Manfred has said something stupid, and they're,
hunk of metal.
Yeah.
Or the Nashville Stars put a jersey on another celebrity that they're trying to fool us into thinking that baseball's right around the corner.
Right, exactly. But have you seen this Tony Vitello stuff?
I did.
On the West Coast?
I did. Is it his first media availability?
Oh, I'm not sure, but he did.
He's had to have had a press conference at some point.
Spring training's about to start, I believe, this weekend. And folks, some media in San Francisco are starting to get tired about Tony and how much he has talked about his departure from Tennessee. He, in his Monday media availability, began, unprompted, by asking reporters when they heard he was taking the Giants job. Because he wanted to clear some things up about his departure. If you remember, that news came down on a Saturday. I remember I was in the Geodis Park radio booth when that news came down that Tony's leaving. And then it was like, oh, no, he's not. Oh, maybe he is. He's thinking about it. 4 or 5 days went by before it was official that he was leaving, and he wanted to clear some stuff up, just sort of unprompted with the media. Yeah, that's not really how that went down. You know, I'm sure Buster Posey would disagree, and going on and on. It was kind of interesting. He went on for like 2 minutes talking about what he was thinking mentally at that time and wanted to make sure his coaches were going to be good if he left. And it was just kind of odd, months removed from him actually taking that job. And I've seen some San Francisco media being like, dude, okay, move on. You're the coach of the Giants now. Why are we still talking about how you left Tennessee? It was just interesting.
Is that not a fair point by the media?
I think it's fair. Yeah. If I'm a Giants fan, or it's like, all right, dude,
I don't care about Tennessee.
We've litigated this. Let's go. It's spring
1,000
training.
miles away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I get it from Tony's perspective, because obviously this is a place that means a lot to him, and he wants to make sure that he's. I don't know if Tony Vitello is somebody who cares about how he's viewed, right? That's always an interesting topic with, like, Bill Belichick, for example, right? One of the only things that we know definitively that Bill Belichick cares about is his place in NFL history, because he's an NFL historian. It's why the first ballot Hall of Fame snub, if you want to call it that, it's probably fair to call it that, probably hurt him more than any of these, jokes about the fact that he's dating a 24-year-old or Deflategate, Spygate, all these different things, because Bill Belichick is famously football historian, and now you've just, maybe you're just making him wait another year, but you've just kind of knifed him a little for his place in football history. And it's clearly something that bothered him, to the point where he's giving quotes to like people like Jim Gray, which, what's a guy got to do? Or what's a guy got to do? Yeah, it's still, I can't really do it. It's so hard to be that kind of monotone.
Well, I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. I've been too fascinated with this. So I've
cheating scandals?
I've dove in. And I don't know if this is the best cheating scandal, but this is definitely the most interesting. From 1973, are you guys familiar with Fritz Peterson and Mike Kekich?
No.
I'll let this guy explain it.
In 1973, Mike Kekich and Fritz Peterson were both pitchers for the New York Yankees. While on the team, they became very close friends, and even went on family vacations together. While on one of these vacations, Mike and Fritz realized that they had both fallen in love with each other's wives. They then decided that the best thing to do would be to switch families, which they did. Mike moved in with Fritz's wife and kids, and Fritz moved in with Mike's wife and kids. Yankees owner George Steinbrenner was absolutely disgusted by the trade and decided to get rid of both of them. He immediately traded Mike Kekich to the Cleveland Indians. A few months later, he traded Fritz Peterson, also to the Cleveland Indians.
This is somebody else's problem.
Oh, my God, they both went to Cleveland.
They are the originators of the show Wife Swap.
Yes. So it notes that they did not just swap wives, as he noted.
Families.
They also swapped children. Mike Kekich became the father of Fritz Peterson's children.
All right, kids. This your dad now.
And your uncle.
Don't call me
Uncle Daddy.
Uncle Daddy.
Just call me
Uncle Baby Billy.
Oh, I hate
Call
it.
me Uncle Daddy. They also switched pets. They did not trade dogs. They left dogs on both sides.
That's you're lying.
No, okay. One of the most bizarre stories in sports history where two Yankees teammates famously swapped lives, including their children, wives, and dogs.
How did we get here from an MLBPA scandal?
I
We should talk about baseball more often. This is fun.
love rabbit
Who
holes.
says
like
baseball's boring?
There's another great one to hear about Tony Parker, too. You guys remember Eva Longoria? How could you forget?
Yes.
Tony Parker and
He's
Eva
got like a show on CNN now. It's like a travel show. Is this just what happens when you retire, basically, as an actor? You just get a CNN travel show or cooking show?
She also has a show of her own.
Who's the Italian guy that I hate? Stanley Tucci.
Stanley Tucci.
Why do you guys hate Stanley Tucci?
He's so, what's the hoity-toity, oh, look how Italian I am. Please buy my pots and pans.
Oh, but you didn't feel a little bad for him in Devil Wears Prada?
Not even a
when
little.
he doesn't get the promotion?
Not even a little bit.
Excellent actor, and he's a good cook. But yeah, I kind of get what I'm picking up what Robert's putting down.
But so Tony Parker, he was found to be cheating on his wife, actress Eva Longoria, holy fumble, by sexting Erin Berry, the wife of former teammate Brent Berry.
Oh.
So not only did he cheat on his wife, he did his teammate wrong.
No.
My goodness.
I don't
French
feel like
phenom.
Tony Parker is remembered that way.
No, just a great spot-up shooter.
Him and Manu and
Yeah, that team was awesome. Yeah.
Pop, all the good vibes, great Spurs teams.
And also, has your wife talked about me? Has she mentioned me?
Sexting. Wait, what year? No, that's very offensive what you've just done.
2010.
Tony Parker does not make that sound like he's Pepe Le Pew.
Look at this baguette, baby.
Plenty of people talk about Klay Thompson's baguette over the weekend. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't. Yeah, all kind of stuff.
Oh, my God.
Good for Meg.
Well, that's the image. Which
Who's Meg?
The
Meg
stallion.
The only one that I wouldn't be talking about Family Guy's Meg.
What does that have to do with anything?
They're dating.
They're dating.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Very good for Clay.
Famously. No, Clay apparently got it figured out.
It's
For those
3
of
point.
you who saw the images from the All-Star break, where Klay Thompson is having a better All-Star break than everybody else in the NBA.
Headlines. We have headlines. Let's do it next.
Well, you don't want to talk about Klay Thompson's baguette? It's one of the best times of year. It's Truck Month at Two Rivers Ford, and that means 0 money down, 0% financing, and 0 payments for 90 days. But only at Two Rivers Ford do you get 0 surprises, and even better, 0 pressure. You see, Two Rivers Ford, they do things a little differently than most dealerships. For starters, they have a non-commissioned sales team, so their salespeople are paid whether you buy a truck or not. So go ahead and ask all the questions. Take your time. Take all the test drives. Check out the F-150, the Super Duty, the Maverick, and the Ranger. Truck Month is all about you. And at Two Rivers Ford, you'll find the real price online every time. They don't add a bunch of accessories or add-ons that you don't know about until you get to the dealership to purchase your vehicle. They pride themselves on honesty and transparency, just like they've done for the last 4 decades. And by the way, Two Rivers Ford has one of the best inventories of Ford trucks in the Southeast. There's Ford Truck Month, and then there's Two Rivers Ford Truck Month. So get to the South's most trusted Ford dealer for the best prices of the year on the best-selling truck in America. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, local, honest, real Two Rivers Ford.
Oh, the offseason is getting off to a hot start. Restructures, tag candidates, and for all that and more, we go to one Lucas Panzica.
The Kansas City Chiefs have restructured Patrick Mahomes' contract this week, and they have created some salary cap for themselves ahead of the 2026 season. ESPN reporting that this morning. The restructuring, it was first reported by Over the Cap, I guess I should say, converts $54.45 million of Mahomes' 2026 salary into a signing bonus, and it lowers his cap number down to $34.65 million. So the Chiefs trying to clear up space, trying to address some needs in free agency. What is the biggest thing to take away, if anything, about how they're doing this with Mahomes?
That he did them such a solid when he signed that 10-year deal a couple of years ago for them to be able to just kind of do this every few years as the quarterback contracts continue to inflate. 10-year long-term deals are not player-friendly. It does not behoove the player, especially in the NFL. In baseball, it's different. In basketball, it's different because the money is guaranteed. In the NFL, where it's monopoly money, and you can't guarantee the full contracts because of how often the athletes get injured, it does not make sense to do a long-term deal unless, you're the Chiefs. You're looking around and be like, oh, we got the next guy. We'll give you a 10-year deal, and we'll just continue to maneuver the cap situation every year, every time, Chris Jones gets too expensive or Nick Bolton gets too expensive or, the cap hits a line in a way that's not favorable to us. And they continue to reward him because it adds, $10 million to his future number and now is set to have a cap hit of over $85 million for the 2027 season. So it's a good way for them to continue to add guarantees for him. It's a good way for him to continue to maintain a mutually beneficial relationship with the team that he plans on, sound like spending, as long as he can with them.
Where do you think Patrick Mahomes ranks among quarterbacks in the NFL in terms of average annual value?
His cap hit is what? Or I'm sorry, is
straight up AAV.
It's like $45 million a year.
Yes, AAV is $45 million. I would put him 8th.
Bert?
Probably like 12th, 14th.
15th. Literally middle of the pack, which is crazy. Like, again, we were talking about the Osweiler trade where the Texans had to get $16 million of his salary off of their books. Like, that was too big of a weight. Here we are 9 years later where a middle of the pack salary at the quarterback position is $45 million. Now, he is tied. I should say he's tied for 14th with Kirk Cousins, as Kirk also has 45 AAV. Stafford right behind him at 40, but Dak is at the top of this list, $60 million a year. Burrow 55, Allen 55, Love 55, Lawrence 55. So really Mahomes is technically tied for 11th or 12th, I guess. But Tua is ahead of him. Jared Goff is ahead of him. Justin Herbert, Brock Purdy, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, all have a higher AAV than Patrick Mahomes. Very Tom Brady of him to do what he's doing with Kansas City, which makes sense because the Chiefs, though they missed the playoffs, had a disappointing season, are in the midst of a dynasty as the Patriots were.
Yeah, no, this is why you do the long-term deal. Like Kyler Murray's not getting a 10-year deal from Arizona for them to be able to maneuver this way.
Well, and Pat kind of has them where he wants them because every time they every time they push this money down the road, they've already added 2 void years where each void year is $60 million. So basically, if you're unfamiliar, if they don't re-sign him, they would pay him $60 million to not play for them. So he has them where they want him because he can get an extension by the time 2032 rolls around and that first $60 million is up. But you noted the 85 next year. They're just going to push it down the road again. Right. I mean, they can continue to do that. They were in the red. They needed to make some money. I was looking at their table right now. They could cut their right tackle, Jawan Taylor, and save about $20 million. And I think that would put them up having about $30-ish million to spend in salary cap.
You know who I would love to have a conversation with? And I don't think he'd ever do like an interview or something like that. You guys know who Vin Marino is?
Yeah, the Titans.
He's their salary cap
guru.
Guy.
Yep.
And Vin's been there for, not to age him, I think it's coming up on 20 years at least.
Yeah.
He's been there for a long time. Obviously I see Vin in the press box and stuff like that, and I don't think it would be untoward for me to ask him a couple of questions just out of curiosity about things, the way that things get done in the league and void years and all the different tools and tips and tricks that various capologists employ? Because I feel like we get into this every free agency. And, all of a sudden, the Saints go from, I don't know, what are they in the red? 35. It's one of their lower figures. They're like 35 million over. All of a sudden, the Saints clear 50 million in cap. How the hell? And all the different tools that people like Vin Marino employ. I'd be fascinated. Maybe that's too in the weeds for people, but I don't know. I feel like there's an appetite for stuff like that.
I would enjoy it.
Well, Mahomes, his cap hit was set to be over $78 million, and it'll be in the 30s in 2026. Just for a fun little game here, who do you think is the lowest paid quarterback, straight up average annual value? You're not going to get it.
On a multi-year deal?
Yeah, that is not a starter, straight up, like a quarterback under contract in the NFL. I'm not going to make you sit here and guess the names because you're not going to get the name. But what do you think the salary is for the lowest paid AAV quarterback under contract in the National Football League?
$3 million?
Way lower.
Is it like somebody on a rookie deal?
Yeah, like you got it. This
It's
is
Connor Bazelak.
Oh, okay.
Who makes $840,000 a year for the Bucs
on a rookie deal.
I think he's a UDFA, so maybe even a little less than a rookie deal.
He's an exclusive rights free agent in 2026.
How long has he been in the league? Bazelak.
He's 26 years old.
But he just got into the league within the last 2 years.
Yeah,
right?
he spent a while. He was at Missouri. He had a pit stop at Indiana. He bounced around. He was in college for a while. But anyway.
Well, before you move on, a fun note on the Saints salary cap. You were talking about the issues they have. So this year they have 3 prominent free agents that are going to hit the market. Cameron Jordan, DeMario Davis, and Taysom Hill. Each one of them has a void cap year in this season where if they're not re-signed, the Saints still have to pay them. Cameron Jordan, $18.7 million. DeMario Davis, $14.3 million. Taysom Hill, $13.7.
God.
So if they don't re-sign those guys, they have to pay them. That's like a superstar player and another role player.
This is the thing. And again, this is not a question that somebody like Vin Marino would ever answer, but like, how the hell does Mickey Loomis stay employed? It's so bizarre to me the way that the Saints, and I know that they had a Super Bowl with Mickey Loomis, but that's 100 years ago at this point in time. Ridiculous.
Wide receiver Mike Evans for the Tampa Bay Bucks, their all-time lead scorer who holds several Bucks franchise records, multiple NFL records. Mike Evans a Hall of Famer, yeah?
Yeah,
100%. Had his first season of his NFL career that did not go over 1,000 yards this past year because it was plagued by injury. Only played in 8 games, 368 yards. That ended a streak of 11 straight years to start his career with 1,000-yard seasons, which ties an NFL record just in terms of the streak, but 11 years to start a career, 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons right out of the gate, that has not happened with anybody else. He is going to play his 13th season in 2026. The destination is TBD. His agent told ESPN on Tuesday, but Mike Evans would love to stay in Tampa, reportedly, but he will play in 2026.
So, I'm blanking on Godwin. This is basically the same situation as Godwin, where he could have made a lot more money on the open market, but ultimately decided, I don't want to move. My wife's happy here in Tampa. I don't want to pick up and move my whole life to go play for the Patriots or something like that for a couple of years. That seems the most likely scenario because Mike Evans still a high-level player.
Oh, yeah. He'll be 33 at the start of the season. This is his most injury-plagued season that he's ever had. We're talking about a hamstring injury, talking about a broken collarbone. He missed 10 games, and he took some time to determine whether or not he wanted to continue playing. He is going to keep playing. He has said multiple times he wants to be a Buck for life, but he's going to weigh his options, and sounds like he's going to sit down with the Bucks as the free agent negotiating period begins on March 9th. So that's the earliest that his agent can talk to other teams. So he can sit down with the Bucks before then, and we'll see what happens. Could Mike Evans be the latest in a slew of aging legendary receivers that have come to play in Tennessee?
No. If you're Mike Evans, you don't want to do that, do you? You're regularly winning divisions in Tampa Bay. Your life is in Tampa Bay. No, I think it's far more likely they end up. Who's the other? It's not going to be Tyreek. Tyreek would be a disaster. It might be fun for a minute, but I don't think it would be.
No, Tyreek feels like
it'd be more TMZ than it would actual football.
It feels like the only scenario where it could work with Tyreek would be Kansas City.
And even they are probably like, I don't know, we survived it. Like, we want to get back into the Tyreek Hill business.
Obviously, there's a Borgonzi connection there, but yeah, I would stay away from Tyreek Hill.
It would be worth asking Mike about it. He's not going to answer anything specifically about it, but it's still worth asking the question. You couldn't see Mike Evans in Tennessee.
I don't know how the Bucs are looking at this. No idea.
Okay, but him, like, wouldn't you want to go play somewhere where you're going to win? I mean, win, but like Adam Thielen, like went to play for the Steelers because they were going to make the playoffs. There's no such guarantee that Tennessee. I mean, if they end up a 7-10 season this year, that's a huge step forward for them. Mike Evans, 7-10 is not what you want to do at 33 years old. Yeah. I would imagine. I wouldn't speak for Mike Evans, but
he could ring chase. He could go to the highest bidder. He could stay in Tampa Bay. I don't know.
I think all three of those, who would be the highest bidder? Because I don't think they're going to pay top of market money. Like, I don't think and again, reserve the right to be proven wrong on this, but like, do you see Mike Borgonzi doing a Calvin Ridley deal?
No.
Right? So, like, I don't think top of market, they will have to pay the we suck luxury tax on some dudes. An aging wide receiver whose best years are incredible, but are probably long behind him. I don't think that makes sense for this particular team.
Bustin' Diamond on the FNM Bank chat says Mike Evans already has his ring and he's in the Hall of Fame. He wants money. So we'll see what happens.
But even then, I would be stunned if they all of a sudden decided to pay top of market money for Mike Evans.
Yeah. Again, would Mike Evans command top of market money? 33 years old, coming off an injury.
Top of market money for a 33-year-old wide receiver. Yeah. The context of that guy, which is still, I mean, what is that, 25?
Yeah, in the 20s for sure.
He was listed in ESPN's top 50 free agents list that we went through yesterday where they talked about best fit. He's number 15 on the list, and they note that the Buffalo Bills would be the best fit for Mike Evans. They need an ex-presence. You know, Keon Coleman kind of called out at that press conference. I wonder if they'd be willing to spend that kind of money on a dude like that.
While you're saying your prayers today, happy Ash Wednesday to everybody out there, all the Catholics out there. Try and sneak one in for the San Francisco 49ers equipment team. Because San Francisco is going to play a regular season game in Melbourne, Australia in 2026 to open the season, reportedly against the Rams. We learned today, according to Adam Schefter, that they will play a regular season game in Mexico City this season. And they have 2 cross-country road games going to Atlanta and to the New York Giants. So the San Francisco 49ers will be the most well-traveled team in NFL history, maybe, next year, as Field Yates pointed out.
Yeah, I mean the amount of logistical hurdles. Again, it is about the football players. Obviously, you want the best situation for the team to compete, especially because we know that they're going to be the home team, right? We don't know who they're hosting yet.
They are the home team in Mexico City,
but we don't know the opponent.
No.
So they're already losing a divisional game to Australia. The Niners.
They'll be playing the Seahawks in Mexico.
Yeah, I mean,
just wait.
You know, like if the NFL did that wouldn't shock me.
That'd be insane.
They're trying to market their product internationally. Let's send the defending Super Bowl champions over to be the away team against the Niners in Mexico. Mexico a little easier than Australia.
I wonder what the most prominent NFL team in Mexico is. I know Ramon went down there for a Steelers watch party this past season. He said it was awesome. Said it was electric. Maybe Houston, one of the Texas teams.
The Raiders have always had a really big Mexican fan base in that part of the world. But, you know, I'm sure it's the vast majority. Like the Niners are a massive fan base, right? Like it's Cowboys, it's Niners, it's Steelers, it's Raiders. It's a lot of the teams that mattered probably the most in the 90s.
Yeah. The New England Patriots have elevated Zach Kerr from his interim defensive coordinator role, where he was calling plays in the absence of Terrell Williams, who has beaten cancer. We're very happy to see former Titans defensive line coach. Williams was at the Super Bowl. It was great to see him out there interacting with folks, and just a really cool story. But Zach Kerr, who was the inside linebackers coach before Terrell Williams had to leave for treatment, will take a step up as the defensive coordinator in New England. And not surprising, a guy who did an excellent job and what was a huge reason the Patriots made the Super Bowl.
Titans legend Zach Kerr.
What did he do here?
He was like a linebackers coach, like an assistant coach. He was here for a couple of seasons, at least 2. not in any kind of prominent role. He was not somebody that we talked to in terms of the position coach availabilities and stuff like that.
Williams is not going anywhere. The
No,
Patriots elevated him to a higher ranking staff role. He's just not the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's being promoted to, and that, I mean, it's a tough spot, especially because Terrell Williams went to Detroit while Mike was out of the league for a year. Wasn't he on the Lions staff?
Yeah, that sounds right.
So I'm sure there were some promises made about, hey, come here and be the defensive coordinator, because Terrell Williams and Vrabel obviously have a really good relationship. He was the head coach for a preseason game here under Vrabel, which afforded him the opportunity to get that experience. It was a different way, a more effective way than the Rooney Rule, for example, to kind of promote minority coaches. So it's a tough situation to navigate, but there's no question that defense overperformed under Zach Kerr, right? Given who, if you look at that defense on paper, understand that Gonzalez is a stud, and Marcus Jones, the other corner, the punt returner? They had some players that, emerged, but they had a lot of overperforming pieces as well.
There you go. Those are the headlines.
All right, very good. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. We'll do some SEC observations next. You've got one life, and it's too short for not nows, maybe laters, and tomorrows. If you're noticing issues with ED or performance, then your relationships, your confidence, and even your career have already been affected. Online folks promise convenience and discretion, but their treatments are generic, some even unsafe. Guys, no more excuses. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is the state's first men's health-focused urology practice, with multiple urologists and providers focused solely on male performance. No unproven snake oil or peptides without solid research. Since 2014, they've pioneered men's health in Tennessee and have been testing and growing to make sure you get the best care and the safest, most effective treatments. Call 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 right now, or book online in under 30 seconds at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Vintage.
My mistake.
No.
My mistake.
People love retro stuff. People love vintage. That's vintage around here. Brian Kelly is the head coach at LSU. That's old school.
Nick Saban.
Hey, he's always relevant.
I would like for you to make any future edits with Ross and his mouth breathing.
I like doing the edit.
Nick Saban.
Yeah. Also because he doesn't want to do it.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Like
That's what's great about it.
unwilling, Ross under protest doing the edits because we were just specifically making fun of his voice.
Just begrudgingly.
Yesterday I was like, "Can you cut this?" He was like, "Can I do it after the show?" No, I need
What are
it.
you doing now?
I need
What are
it.
you doing now? They're picking Ramona. Then we'll have a promo about Jerry curls. Is that what Ross is rocking? Somewhere between a mullet and a Jerry curl. He's forming his Jerry curl for the day.
I would love it if he had some soul glow in his hair. Just came in dripping, like his hair just so taut
Be
with
a
water.
different version of what was happening with the Celtics player, where his hair dye was being rubbed off
Jaylen
on
Brown.
Jaylen Brown.
Yes.
Did Ross urinate on your front door or something? You seem very obsessed with just taking down Ross at every turn.
No, I make fun of him just the same way I make fun of you or Robert or anything.
No, there's a little extra vitriol there, and I don't know, something about it.
We'll get to the bottom of
Not
this.
sure. Yeah,
His face.
something about it. I don't know what he did. You seem to think about him a lot. Florida 76, South Carolina 62 yesterday, and Florida remains at the top of the SEC standings at 11-2 with another slate of games set to happen today. Tennessee and Vandy both in action tonight, but Kentucky flat once again at home. 86-78, they fall to 8-5 in SEC play, 17-9 overall. And this Kentucky team continues to be one of the hardest to diagnose in the Southeastern Conference. Otega Owe was great, 28 points. He is absolutely a contender for SEC Player of the Year. But Kentucky has fallen to 8-5 in conference play, and we'll see what Tennessee and Alabama and Vanderbilt do, but they are currently above Kentucky in the standings. So up and down, the Wildcats go. Texas edged out LSU, I should say, 88-85 yesterday. Meanwhile, tonight, Tennessee is at home hosting Oklahoma. They are favored by 10.5.
Well, just quickly.
Yeah.
To your point about Kentucky, because we had a caller, and rightfully so, I don't know, was that last week, 2 weeks ago? Because I was being critical of Kentucky, even though Tennessee lost to them, and I was saying that Tennessee had lost to a bad Kentucky team. Now, I understand that in the standings, they're not that far back, right? But I don't trust Kentucky. And,
sure.
And that's not from a position of no, I hate Kentucky basketball and all things Kentucky because that is my predisposition. But if that team were to get into the tournament, I would not pick them to advance.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, they're indisputably a talented team. Otega Owe can take over any game, and it feels like he's just gotten better as the season has gone on. But, yeah, it's similar to the end of the Coach Cal era, where it's like, now you're really going to put Kentucky in your Final Four? So they drop one against a pretty solid Georgia team last night, but Kentucky fans not happy. Tennessee tonight takes on Oklahoma that had a horrible start to SEC play. They were last place in the standings for about the first half of the SEC slate, but they've bounced back. They've scored 90-plus in each of their last two games, including a win over Vanderbilt on West End. And Oklahoma goes to Knoxville tonight, where Nate Ament is picking up steam. In his last 7 games, 23.6 points per game, 6.7 rebounds per game. Of course, for Tennessee, it's been about 40 minutes of consistent basketball that have just escaped them night in and night out in SEC play. It was the same in the LSU game on Saturday, where Tennessee built up a lead. LSU charged back. The Vols had to kind of just regain control and end up seeing it out. JP Estrella was good in that game, provided a spark. He is doubtful to play tonight. Could be a big miss. Tennessee's sort of big three, so to speak, has been Gillespie, Ament, and JP Estrella. If one of those three is off on any given night, I believe Tennessee can lose to anybody they face.
You know what's surprising about them this year? Because it's uncharacteristic. Not that they're bad in this specific category, but if I said there was one thing about this year's Tennessee team that is uncharacteristic of Rick Barnes' coach teams, what would you say?
Uncharacteristic of Rick Barnes' coached teams. Let's see. I mean, they have, I think their lack of an ability to limit turnovers at times.
And for sure.
Some of the defensive inconsistencies.
Well, that's the thing. Defensive inconsistencies. Their defensive efficiency rating on KenPom, and again, KenPom isn't a perfect metric. It's one metric that you can use to judge these things. But they're a lot lower in KenPom this year than they typically are. If I told you that as far as net rating goes, where would you put Tennessee? Where would you guess Tennessee is right now, unless you got it in front of you in the top 20?
Net rating and what stat again?
No, they're just their net rating.
You just tell me.
So, like, Michigan is the top-rated team in terms of the net right now. Tennessee is between Alabama and Virginia at 19. As an offensive, they are a better offensive team than they are a defensive team this year, which is kind of inverted for what we typically associate with Rick Barnes. It depends on who the players are, of course, on the court. But they are an appreciably worse team in terms of their defensive rating this year than you're accustomed to seeing.
Sure, and I think a lot of that is a lack of continuity, right? Tennessee built up that rigidity on defense with year over year over year of players in that defensive system that were committed to defending. A player like Jemai Mashak, a defensive specialist at the NBA level, being at the same program for 4 years doesn't happen very often, and that elevated Tennessee's floor defensively for the last few years, and they've had to kind of break guys in this season. So, that's not terribly shocking. And you have a prospect like Nate Ament that is likely to end up being the highest drafted Tennessee player in the Rick Barnes era, the highest drafted Tennessee player in quite a few years, that is coming into his own, that is finding his spots, that is finding his shot, and finally asserting himself physically in these games. So we'll see. Tennessee, again, favored by double digits tonight. They go to Vanderbilt Saturday.
That's the big one.
Yeah, so here's a chance for Tennessee to beat a team that you're supposed to beat on your home floor. Road teams have been exceptionally good in the SEC. Going into last Saturday, road teams had won over 50% of games in the SEC to that point.
That's crazy.
It's insane. I'm not sure how the stat is adjusted, and home teams mostly won on Saturday, if not going undefeated. I can't remember specifically. But Tennessee will be expected to handle Oklahoma tonight. Vanderbilt on the road at Missouri. That's an 8 p.m. tip. Vols tip off at 6. You can hear the Vol Network call right here on the Zone. But, yes, all leading to Tennessee-Vandy, the first of their two meetings at 1 p.m. on West End this Saturday. We will be in Indy, of course, next week at the NFL Scouting Combine, and the breakdown of players by conference, by school, has the SEC at the top with 114 invites. We learned today that Joey Agalar is one of these invites, and he will actually be at the Combine for a couple of days in case, number one, he doesn't have an answer from Judge Haggerty by then, or even if he does, there's the possibility the NCAA could appeal and maybe it doesn't go his way, though small, it is a possibility. So Agalar will be in attendance. Texas A&M, I should have made you guess, but Texas A&M leads the SEC with 13 invites to the Combine. Bama with 12, LSU with 11, Georgia and Oklahoma with 10.
Is that surprising?
It is and it isn't. I mean, it's coming out of year one of Mike Elko. They were a playoff team. And
why do I feel like Mike Elko has been there longer than just
he was
a year?
Defensive coordinator under Jimbo.
Sure.
But their talent profile has been high. That's not really dropped off. So I guess it shouldn't be terribly surprising.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Who rounds out the top five?
A&M 13, Bama 12, LSU 11, Georgia 10, Oklahoma 10. And that's the top five. Tennessee has 6, tied with Missouri, Kentucky, Auburn, Arkansas.
So Aguilar, the two corners, Brazel.
Well, I guess Tennessee. So I guess Agalar wouldn't technically be.
What am I missing?
No, then I guess Tennessee would have 7 if Agalar is indeed going, because it's Brazel, the two corners, Agalar, Joshua Josephs, Bryson Eason, and Miles Kitselman, the tight end. Mm-hmm. And I guess we don't really count Jacoby Thomas, the defensive back that transferred to Miami.
We're going to have some specific SEC, Vandy, and Vols segments at the Combine, some additional social media features that Lucas and Robert are going to be doing while the Combine availability is going on. The Eli Stowers draft stock has taken a dip here in the last couple of months. And I'd be curious to see where he ends up going and which NFL team, which offense he ends up fitting into. Because obviously he's a very talented player. I can't imagine he falls anywhere lower than the second round, the high second round, depending on when the tight ends go. But that's been something to monitor. People had him slotted in as the tight end 1 for the vast majority of the college football season. It feels like in the last couple of months the dialogue around him has changed.
Well, Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon was always the tight end number 1. But I think that what's being called into question, and
he's also taking a dip.
Notably, yeah, because he was a top 10 pick or kind of positioned in there at wherever the Chiefs were picking, like, oh, if Travis Kelce's gone, they can just replace him with this other stud. But I think that's the argument for this tight end class, is that the guys that are really good in space or really good receivers aren't that good of blockers, and finding the middle ground between those guys. I believe it was Daniel Jeremiah who said day 3 is just a hotbed for tight end prospects. So, I mean, maybe teams are valuing that the same way and saying, hey, we're not going to spend a high pick on a dude if there's a ton of these guys on day 3 that we have comparable grades on.
I love how excited Robert gets about the draft.
I'm so excited.
I know I mentioned to you on the phone the other day when we were prepping for primetime that I started watching a few corners and people in Daniel Jeremiah's top 50, and you just started just flamethrowering me with names. It's like, buddy, I watched 2 guys today.
Like, yeah, who'd you watch? Did you watch the guy from Miami?
Just take a breath.
Did you watch Julian Neal?
Take a breath. It's going to be okay.
Oh, I'm so excited. I just want to be close to him. What do you have? Oh, my gosh. I'm so excited for this. I hope that somehow we are able to finagle tickets for this as well. Stained is going to be here September 29th. So far away, feel like you in my hand. God, dude, electric. Or I'm a seal.
That's not a sound a seal makes.
Seals make or. They do that when they come out.
You're helping yourself with the clapping.
No, well, because it lends itself.
They don't clap either.
Sealed. What are you talking about?
No, it's a circus clown seal.
All right, I'm going to go in there.
Where?
Ben Jones. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So, Stained.
Okay.
I'll be the one excited about the combine and about Stained.
I just watched that. I just watched Ted again, which is why I have the Ted references in my head. But when he's wrapping up that meeting with the guy that has the picture with Tom Skerritt, and he's like, "I got you, Goose. Top Gun. Tom Skerritt." Guy has no idea what he's talking about. He's just standing there with a picture of Tom Skerritt. All right, 615-737-1045 is the number. If you want those Stained tickets, you just call in and tell us what the dumbest thing in sports this week is.
It is 11:04. Good morning from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. This afternoon, the Titans will officially introduce offensive coordinator Brian Daboll and defensive coordinator Gus Bradley with a press conference that begins right at noon. Meanwhile, yesterday, Nashville Soccer Club kicked off 2026 with a 2-0 win at Atletico Ottawa in CONCACAF Champions Cup play. NSC begins MLS regular season play Saturday at Geodis Park, hosting New England. At the Winter Olympics in Milan Cortina, multiple Nashville Predators will face off in the knockout round of men's hockey today, coming up with puck drop in 5 minutes. UC Saros, Eric Haula, and Finland take on Roman Jossi's Switzerland. Later today, the United States men will face Philip Forsberg and Sweden at 2:10. College hoops tonight. Tennessee plays host to Oklahoma. 6 p.m. is the tip-off. You can hear the Vol Network call right here on The Zone. And number 19, Vanderbilt is on the road at Missouri. 8 p.m. is the tip-off. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Six 615-737-1045 for the chance to win tickets to see the band Stained, who Robert apparently has misappropriated.
Yeah.
The chat very quick to pounce on your neck.
Yeah, they all sound the same. When I looked it up, I was like, oh, Stained. Like, I know Stained. What are some Stained song? And I saw So Far Away. I was like, oh, okay, so it's that one, but it's not. It's apparently this one.
Oh, hell yeah.
Also a banger, but not the right song.
That feels like a song that you would hear. Did you guys ever stay up late enough when you were, maybe grade school, maybe early onset high school, where you would just be watching TV and they'd be playing infomercials for those like classic rock or punk rock or different kinds of rock and roll album box sets with like the best albums? Not like not now that's what I call music. But like the rock-specific ones, that feels like it was prominently featured stuff.
For sure.
All right. Dumbest thing in sports this week is everything going on around Michael Jordan and the Daytona 500. I don't know how many people have seen this video. Some account called Breaking 911, which is, of course, the most credible of all of the Twitter accounts that are out here populating things for the purposes of aggregation and making money, says, interesting celebration choice by Michael Jordan after winning the Daytona 500. So Tyler Reddick won the race, and Michael Jordan, I guess, is the team owner for Tyler Reddick. And so Tyler Reddick's son is on the podium, and he's close to Dad, and apparently Dad has just gotten a Gatorade bath, an ice bath, something like that. They've dumped a bucket of something on his head, and there was ice in it. So Michael Jordan is pulling at this little boy's shorts to try and get ice that has fallen down the back of his shirt out of his shirt and shorts, and people are alleging, because apparently we're on a pedophile witch hunt these days, and in every aspect of every lane of society, which is of course a good thing to do, but not if you're out here just assuming that people are inappropriately touching children like Michael Jordan.
In a giant crowd.
In a giant crowd with tons of TV cameras. You're Michael Jordan. Like all of the least likely scenarios that this could be, people immediately started pointing to Michael Jordan on the internet and said, pervert, pedophile. No. Okay, let's just, not everybody is on the Epstein list. Not everybody. There are a lot of people. Not everybody on the Epstein list. Michael Jordan just trying to help the kid out because he got a little ice in his shorts. All right? Not that deep. Dumbest thing in sports. Yes, this is it.
Takes me away.
Well, this is yacht rock.
This is a easy rock listening collection. Kind of miss those commercials.
You think the guy that voiced one of them voiced all of them? I feel like it's the same guy, like the ShamWow guy.
There is a playlist with 15 of these commercials in it, so I will do some research and get back to you.
Electric.
What is MJ's? So he owns the team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Another championship. My dumbest thing in sports this week is UCLA head coach Mick Cronin. Now, I am thoroughly entertained by Mick Cronin. I love that he still wears the suit on the sideline, which feels like a bygone era at this point
Him and
in
Pitino.
college basketball. Yep, Pitino as
We
well.
didn't talk about what happened in that St. John's game the other day, by the way, where Pitino had his fists up like he was ready to throw hands.
I love that Mick Cronin just appears to be the angriest little man that there ever was. I think his rants are very funny. I think his behavior on the sideline is amusing and entertaining. Yeah. It's an entertainment industry. But yesterday, he simply took it too far as UCLA was getting blown out. Oh, who were they playing? It was just in front of me. But
Penn State or Michigan State?
Michigan State. Thank you, Robert. They were getting destroyed. And number one, what? What was it? Did he say something in your ear?
No, he said it while I said it in your ear, so you didn't hear him. You're welcome.
Number one, Mick Cronin, towards the end of this game, ejected his own player, Stephen Jamerson II, after he committed a technical foul on a fast break. And Mick Cronin can be seen telling him to get off the floor and go back to the locker room. So that was one thing. But this is the real reason why Mick Cronin is the dumbest thing in sports this week. This was his post-game reaction in a little scrum with media.
What was your thoughts in the student section chanting Booker's name?
I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section.
I just meant overall the way that you
I would like to give you a kudos for the worst question I've ever been asked.
Did you like
You should take it.
the preparation of
Do you really think I care about the other team's
No, I don't
student
think you care about the other
Are you
team.
raising your voice at me?
No, I'm just
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Come on, dude.
No reason.
Come on. Yes, you are. Everybody's standing here listening to you. Everybody. This is on camera. They can hear you. I answered the question. I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section. I coach UCLA. I don't care about Michigan State students. I mean, who cares?
He was clearly rattled by the student section. And also the irony of him going on there and saying, this is on TV and microphones everywhere. Like he's not the one doing the thing that he should be ashamed to have on TV and in front of microphones.
Yes, I also read Mike Golick Jr.'s tweet pointing out the irony of that situation. But
oh, did he?
Did he?
I had no idea.
But Mick Cronin saying to the reporter,
"That's not fair.
No,
you appropriator.
I've been no. You just appropriated me, and he thanked you.
Stop appropriating other people's hard work.
I feel like Michael Jordan. Not everybody's a pedophile.
It's a problem, and it needs to be fixed. Also, the F&M Bank chat when I sang the wrong song.
This is on camera. They can hear you.
But Mick Cronin saying, "Did you raise your voice at me?" to a reporter is just embarrassing, man. Like, get out of here with that. Unbelievable. And anytime something like this pops up, because it feels like once or twice a year we're laughing or talking about Mick Cronin just being an angry little man, but this is the most egregious example of it. I'm reminded that Mick Cronin was the pivot from Rick Barnes. When UCLA went all out to scoop Rick Barnes from Tennessee, it looked like it was happening. The one good thing Philip Fulmer did as Tennessee's athletic director was not let Rick Barnes leave campus, and they pivoted to Mick Cronin, who got them to a Final Four. For what it's worth, he's a good basketball coach. But Kansas State just fired Jerome Tang for calling out players, saying they don't deserve to wear this uniform, that many of them won't be here next year, and fired him for cause.
Dumb.
And are not paying him his $18 million buyout. Just a coincidence that they're losing, too, and the program is trending in a certain direction, which K-State also pointed out in the statement. But is this grounds? Right? Like, does this fall under that category as comments that embarrass the university? If UCLA were a 8-win basketball team, would this be suddenly grounds to fire Mick Cronin with cause?
Jerome Tang's lawyer now?
I just thought it was stupid.
It is stupid.
Me when Buck gets sassy.
Are you raising your voice at me? No.
It's the other way around when you get emotional about something.
No. Well, something
Who got a call at 7:30 this morning?
It was my mom.
I love that.
I love you. I love you very much, my mother.
7:30 a.m. I'm like, why the hell is he calling me now? He's just butthurt about something.
He called me too.
Okay, well, it was just to tell you both that I love you. That's all it was.
We love being your emotional support buddies.
Well, I need both of you to hold me closely, because this is a debate that's been going on the internet for far too long, and it reached a head today. Are you guys familiar with what a brontosaurus looks like?
Yes,
Yeah.
quite.
Long neck.
Correct.
Land Before Time.
Well, I was about to say Days of Our Lives, but that is incorrect. Like, I can't get anything right today.
Days of Our Lives.
But brontosauruses, the debate on the internet today, if they were to wear a necktie, where would they wear it?
Oh, God.
At the top of their neck, near their mouth, or at the bottom, at the base of their shoulders?
At the top.
What?
At the top.
No.
Behind
Why
the
would-
little the bump on their head.
Why are you and everyone on the internet so stupid?
We're right.
No, you're not right.
I have the majority.
Where do we wear ties? Do you wear ties at the if you were what's the long neck dude in Houston?
Oh,
Davis Mills.
If Davis Mills is wearing a tie, does he tie it at the very top of his neck,
He
right
should.
underneath his jaw, or does he
get
wear
suits
it
that fit him that way?
at the base of his neck where his collar folds down? It's very obvious that if a brontosaurus was to wear a tie, they would wear it at the base of their neck. Never mind you how they would tie it. But if they were, one, I think they'd wear a clip-on. But two, it would be at the base of their neck. I'm tired of this argument. It goes up there with GIF versus GIF. It goes up there with
GIF.
it's GIF. Up there with, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Is a sandwich a hot dog?
Is a sandwich a hot dog?
A hot dog is a sandwich.
Yes.
But when you go to
There's
Subway,
meat between
Yes,
two slices of
that's
bread.
my argument.
like if a sub sandwich, if the bread is connected the way a hot dog bun is connected,
Is that then a hot dog?
is it or does the actual dog, like the Frank, make the dog?
Subway should definitely start doing hot dogs.
Like the foot-long
When's the
hot
last
dog?
time either of you have been in a Subway?
long time.
That is my favorite
school,
road
maybe.
trip stop. If a gas
Really?
station has a Subway, give me a foot-long Italian herbs and cheese, buddy. I love a road trip Subway sub, and I also love when we give dinosaurs anatomically correct accoutrement that they would wear to a business meeting.
At the top.
No, that's incorrect.
615-737-1045 is the number. Call in and tell us what the dumbest thing in sports this week is. It could be that conversation that we just had on Sports Talk Radio. For the opportunity to win 2 tickets to Stained. Let's start with Chad in Cross Plains.
You there?
Yes. Are you?
The other thing in sports has got to be the NBA.
Yeah, very good.
Just reading today of how many people have tanked, and it's got to be the softest professional sports league we got right now. It's starting to get gross.
How many games have you watched this year?
Maybe 2.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the call.
I didn't realize the All-Star game was on until
I actually watched a lot of the All-Star stuff.
So I loved the concept. I stumbled upon it, and it was like, I feel like it was barely promoted, first of all. I had no
It was
idea
not well promoted.
it was happening.
But also, it's a lot of, because it's on NBC, the All-Star game was on NBC, it's a lot of Peacock stuff.
Okay. But it was this USA versus the world thing, and I think that's cool.
Yeah.
With the amount of players from outside the United States making an impact in the NBA. But then I tuned in, and it was like game 2 of 4, and I was like, all right, I don't want to figure out how this all works.
The thing... so they are having a real tanking problem. We don't venture much into the NBA just because it's not where the audience really cares for us to spend our time. But like what's happening in Utah is egregious. And apparently there is reporting from people that cover the NBA that it's not Adam Silver taking these programs and these franchises to task over the blatant and obvious tanking that's taking place. It's more the gambling entities that are pouring money into the NBA being like, hey, your exhibition is your regular season. Like, your games don't matter. Teams are treating this blatantly like they don't matter. There's a quote from Eric Spoelstra, the Heat coach, the other day at the podium talking about, like, when they get all their guys back and all the dudes that are resting due to load management and how much different of a team they're going to be when it, comes time to, like, roll the actual Heat team out there as opposed to the dudes that they're starting right now. It's a problem. Thank you for the call, Chad. Adam Silver, honestly, can you fire a commissioner? Is that an owner thing? I mean, I guess as long as owners are making money hand over the fist, they're fine with whatever this looks like. But, like, Adam Silver, it's tough to beat out Rob Manfred for the worst commissioner in professional sports right now. He has not done a good job. They feel like they gain more problems than they solve year over year. Billy is in Nashville.
Yes, sir. My dumbest thing in sports would have to be the Olympic long jump team doing secret injections so they could get bigger skin suits so they could fly farther.
Yes, we had somebody bring up the penis injections for the Olympic team yesterday. Thank you for the call. I mean, is it dumb if it works? Like, that seems like a very extreme thing. Like, I don't want to be injecting myself there with
It's
anything.
cheating.
Yeah, did we ever get to the bottom of it, though?
Is it cheating?
Yeah, it's basically PEDs.
No, it just means your member's bigger.
Yeah, but it helps the aerodynamics.
Isn't that what PED
Of a ski
stands
jump.
for?
But, like, is the substance banned? Whatever the substance is, like if they're injecting their penis with steroids.
I'm sorry.
If it's peptides, yes, because peptides
are banned?
Well, they're a gray area right now because they did prove that they work.
And
but
peptides can mean like so many different
100
things.
different things. But the FDA has not approved all peptides. Like, so it's really a gray medicinal area.
Okay.
Also, where do they get these at? Like, how do you do it? Who administrates it?
The
Like,
Olympic Village.
I need to
Oh, that's awful. That's disgusting. Where did they get these substances?
Who has the link?
It's probably at Lucas's gym. It just sounds like there's like just stray needles strewn all over the locker room.
Come on. Don't do that.
You're the one who tells us about it.
Come on, they're all anabolic.
Tyler in Clarksville.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Not much.
Hey, so I've got to go with what I saw yesterday as Titans legend Adrian Peterson getting in a pretty good fist fight at a poker game.
Again?
Unless it was an old video that I saw.
He's had a couple of different instances. Thank you for the call. Is there a recent Adrian Peterson poker fight? Because he most recently got arrested in October for being asleep at the wheel in his SUV. I don't have anything.
I missed that.
Yeah,
I
this
think
is
it's
from
an
June 19th of last year.
It's an old video. Yeah. Okay. So that is not a viable submission.
TMZ categorized it as got in a little tussle over a poker game.
What did who's the former Raiders and Jags coach? Del Rio. What did Del Rio call the January 6th thing? A dust up?
Yes.
A little dust up?
Yes.
Ellis is next. All right. Ellis is on line 2.
Nope. He was on line 1.
Oh, okay. Line 1.
Hey, guys. Another Olympic skiing, but it was the number one qualifier, men's slalom, Norwegian. He misses a gate. He proceeds to do a full-on tantrum. As he's doing the tantrum, he's throwing a pole across to the crowd. He's stomping off. The Swiss coaches are in the background cheering it, and he goes through a fence all the way in the forest and just melts down. That was awesome.
This was awesome.
That's our winner. Congratulations, Ellis. You get the tickets.
But I don't think it was dumb. I think it was the most relatable reaction to an Olympic heartbreaker meltdown. He just threw his equipment and walked into the forest completely despondent. That was the most human thing I've ever seen at an elite athletic event.
He's just sitting under a tree pouting in the snow somewhere.
Did you guys see why, though? He wanted to dedicate the win or a medal placement to his late grandfather.
Oh.
So his grandfather passed away, and then because of an error on his part, he was unable to medal.
Oh, now
and
it's
so
sad.
that's kind of why he broke down.
Okay, well, now it's sad.
Thank you for humanizing the moment that Lucas...
I read about it this morning.
Okay, very good. All right, we'll give Ellis the tickets, and I just saw this topic. Who has more value, Anthony Richardson or Will Levis in a trade? Next. No one wants to deal with a plumbing, HVAC, or electrical emergency. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost or if it'll get fixed correctly or if someone is just trying to sell you something. When you call Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, their experts are going to solve your problems quickly. The price you're told is the price you'll actually pay. There's no hidden fees or surprises when you get your bill. Hiller has been in business for over 35 years and is family-owned and operated. Their techs are professional, experienced, and trustworthy. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time. No more wasting time waiting around. 100% satisfaction guaranteed of Happy You'll Be, or the service is free. That is the Happy Hiller promise. So book online today at happyhiller.com.
It's so interesting to go back and look at the 2023 quarterback draft class in the NFL draft and kind of a where are they now situation in 2026 where Bryce Young seems to be coming into his own, has hosted a playoff game. C.J. Stroud started hot, lately not. And then there's Anthony Richardson and Will Levis that seem to be in very similar boats with the Colts and Titans, respectively. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Stephen Holder, the Colts reporter for The Athletic, has reported that Anthony Richardson is expected to seek a trade. Now, it's not terribly surprising, right? The Colts, I don't know what their quarterback situation is going to be this year, but stands to reason it's not going to be Anthony Richardson. So it does beg an interesting question. We've already talked about Will Levis's value as it pertains to a potential Titans trade, but who would be more valuable for a team looking for that next quarterback reclamation? Anthony Richardson with the upside and the measurables and all of these things except the actual sample size of playing consistent football, or Will Levis, who, I don't know, the Venn diagram between the two, there's a lot of overlap.
Levis is the more disaster prone. He's also played more.
No question. And Richardson's the more injury prone.
So the genesis of this conversation, Robert, is what?
I was listening to 3HL yesterday, and they were talking about the update that Anthony Richardson is expected to request to be traded or cut. And Dawn said that she believes that Will Levis has more value than Anthony Richardson does. And I thought that based on who would be a better quarterback. Like she's saying, like, if you're going to have a reclamation project, you'd think that you would want the guy who has some semblance, and cited Anthony Richardson taking himself out of the game and things of that ilk. But I thought it would be an interesting conversation because I kind of disagree.
I do too.
I think the upside Anthony Richardson has, there's going to be a lot of smart coaches or general managers out there that think, oh, I can fix him. I can work with that tool set.
Now,
and not that I disagree with Dawn, by the way. I thought it was a fascinating conversation.
I'll disagree with Dawn.
Yeah, I know you have no problem doing that.
It's fun.
I respect her opinion.
I do too, of course.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think you do. You've said off the air that you don't, and I just have found it to be.
And that you hate her.
Yeah, I found it to be pretty gross.
You're putting Dawn's words into my mouth. Far more likely the inverse of that.
Will Levis has appeared in 21 games. Anthony Richardson has appeared in 17.
Yeah.
Again, like they're not the same player, obviously, but there's so many similarities in how their NFL career has taken shape through 3 years.
CJ on YouTube says Levis can at least hit the side of a barn, which is, I mean, his accuracy isn't the best thing that he's got going for him, but he's more consistently accurate than Anthony Richardson is. The only argument for Levis being, at least in my head, being a better trade value proposition is that he costs less. He's on a second-round pick contract. Assuming that you're trading for what's remaining on Anthony Richardson's deal, Lucas, maybe you could look this up on Spot Track or Over the Cap or one of these resources, how much money each of them is set to make in 2026. Levis's contract is infinitely more acquirable, and I would think you would have to spend, like, is the value of Richardson's potential, the thing that he has not yet achieved, but that you keep trying to project, is that worth significantly more draft capital than you'd have to give up for, I mean, let's say Levis goes for a sixth at best. Sixth feels fair, right? He's coming off of, like, right now before he plays a preseason game. Maybe he can play his way into a higher sixth. Maybe he's a seventh no matter what. A fifth seems like a reach for Will Levis right now, given that there's enough tape on him to look at him and be like, I don't know.
I mean, what would it come with, right? Like, a fifth makes more sense if you are swapping a six out, right? And you're elevating a six to a fifth rather than just a straight up fifth for Will Levis. But, yeah, I get what you're saying. Richardson is under contract this year, and he is under team control in 2027 as well.
At what price?
Well, they have a club option.
They have a club option.
So they can pick up his fifth-year option.
Right. So we don't know. Probably not going to happen. If he wants to be traded.
What's the cost this year?
Oh, in 2026, the cap hit's $10.8 million.
Versus Levis, who is, I mean, that's not,
Levis is $3 million.
Yeah, it's not insignificant.
You're talking
money.
about a top 5 draft pick versus a second rounder.
For sure. So the case for Levis would be, he's cheaper, and you could probably get him for a lesser draft pick, and maybe he doesn't have the athletic heights that Richardson comes with, but he does more of the other stuff better.
Here's the thing, though. Levis is going to be 27 this season.
That is kind of crazy.
Richardson will be 24. He'll turn 24 in May. He's younger than Joey Aguilar, than Diego Pavia. Dude's about to be in the 4th year of his NFL career. He's the same age as Ty Simpson, just a few months older. They're both 23. He's only got a year on Fernando Mendoza. And Will Levis will be 27 in June.
We don't know Anthony Richardson like up close and personal the way that we do Levis from a personality standpoint. How big of a concern is the fact that Anthony Richardson had the third down where he tapped out and there's effort issues and all of a sudden he's putting together a rap song at you remember that? It's terrible. I can't remember what the name of the song
is. At the gas station.
Oh, yeah. The gas station. Very, very bad, poorly done. Anthony Richardson, the person, versus Will Levis, the person. We don't know as much detail about Richardson other than what's been reported. We know that Will, I don't think he's a bad person by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't know if he's got his attention focused on the most important thing, which is being the best version of a football quarterback that he can possibly be, versus all of the things, with all due respect, that come with being a professional quarterback. I think Levis is prone to leaning into that more than your average anybody really would be, especially given his lack of accomplishment.
You and I just got a text from Dawn.
She didn't put me on it?
She just texted Buck and I.
What?
That means she hates you most.
No, I love Dawn, and I love Travis.
No, it's got nothing to do with the fact that we're talking about her on air.
She's asking for lunch wrecks downtown. Just serendipity, I guess.
Dadgummit. Why would she? I'm the biggest dude on the show.
So she's not listening to us.
I know,
she knows we're on the air.
Text from Dawn. Here we go. She's going to come. Oh, nope. Hey, you guys know anywhere to go to lunch?
Shame on you, Davenport. Also, it's funny that Robert's not on the text.
It's not funny.
Also, Ramon sent us a text that you weren't on the other day either.
Why is everyone doing
Slay was on
this? No. Why did it?
Now, because I pointed out that I know the glue.
I'm the glue that keeps the group chat together.
You're the cigarette tar.
I'm that whatever's sticky enough.
Yeah, that's tar sticky.
No, not whatever's sticky enough.
Let's go back to talking about this. I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
What did Ramon text us about?
No,
it was
no.
This was a couple of days ago because he had to add Robert back into the group text, and then Slay made a joke about group text ice getting Robert.
We don't care. No one cares. Anthony Richardson was as bad as Will Levis was. Anthony Richardson is
worse.
Equally as bad.
Okay, so were his lows lower?
If you're just box scout or box score scouting, career 59.5 completion percentage. Last year, he was at 50. The year before, where he had a much larger sample size, he was at 47.7, which is horrendous.
Levis is at 61 for his career.
Yeah, it's just...
But to Lucas's question, you're saying were Richardson's lows as low as Levis's were? I didn't watch every Colts game, but the sheer volume of disaster, memeable internet moments, and even the ones that weren't, when he broke that chain gang guy's leg, when he's just flying out of bounds, like all these he's just kind of a tornado.
Yeah, the disaster class moments more frequent with Levis, but whose highs were higher?
I'd probably say Levis. Maybe, hell, I may be coming around on Don's argument.
I struggle because I think singular eye-popping moments, it's Richardson, right?
His rookie year. His rookie year, he was exceptional.
The bad footwork, 70 yards down the field off his back foot, nonsense touchdown pass, right?
Or singular games like against the Titans where he rushed for 1 million rush yards.
Okay, but the running back in that game, I think he ended up for the Bengals or the Bills after the fact.
Oh, Zach Moss.
Zach Moss crushed them. That was more about Zach Moss because Minshew played a good deal of that game. Richardson got hurt in that game, didn't he? That was the game where he got knocked out the first time with the shoulder at Indy?
Yes. Okay, so he only had 70 rush yards for a touchdown. You're right. It was Zach Moss.
Zach Moss killed them.
That just torched torched them that game.
I think the difference in bad is Will Levis's bad is like, holy crap, why did you do that?
It's almost like entertaining bad.
And Anthony Richardson bad is like, holy crap, why can't you do that? Like, why can't you throw like,
Right.
a
How
slant?
can you do that?
That
but
is
not this.
such a good breakdown of it. Why did you do that versus why can't you do that?
It's like he overthrows everybody. It's like Joe Milton, the first stint at Tennessee. Like he just overthrows everybody. He's got a cannon, doesn't know how to use it. Like can't hit a dude over the middle. Can't hit a slant. Can't hit a curl. Like the fundamentals of being a quarterback he cannot do.
Yeah, I mean, for all of Levis's issues, like he can make the throws that you need him to make. He can do enough of the routine stuff. It's just that the disaster class moments are so outsized that it almost it washes out a lot of the routine that Will Levis is capable of doing. So we'll see. I mean, there's a very real scenario in which they're both on the move this offseason.
I mean, they are the two reclamation project candidates, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know that there's a more prominent one out there.
What are you laughing about?
You can leave.
Okay.
You can go. Lucas and I will.
Hold on.
Wait,
Bye.
I got a question.
I got to go to a press conference. It's too late now. Otherwise, we'll talk more about Megan Thee Stallion.
We will talk about the fact that Joey Agalar, while in limbo, will be at the Combine next week. Next. Another day going by, another, I guess, lack of update on Joey Aguilar's situation as he seeks an injunction to be able to play college football for Tennessee in 2026. The judge in Knox County, Judge Haggerty, ruled over the hearing on Friday. It was a hotly contested injunction hearing, grilling both sides, the NCAA and Joey Aguilar. Everybody in the room seemed to be a Tennessee alum, a Tennessee season ticket holder, seemed to bleed orange, and it was all a very interesting dynamic, which we've covered at this point. And we wait, and we were never going to hear something on Monday, which was a federal holiday with President's Day, but at any given moment between now and the indefinite future, we could hear from Judge Haggerty on whether or not he will grant Aguilar his injunction. Now, we did learn today, or yesterday, I suppose, Chris Lowe reported that Joey Aguilar will attend the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, which we will be at, Buck, Burt, and myself. So maybe we get a chance to talk to Joey Aguilar for a little bit. He will only go for 2 days, and Aguilar's going to go no matter what. It's not just if he gets denied. If the injunction is denied, then he fully turns his attention, obviously, to the NFL draft. But if the injunction is granted, the NCAA can still appeal. There is still a scenario, though unlikely, because Tennessee can, or Aguilar, I should say, can drag this out. And as we know, these things do not happen in a very timely manner. But the NCAA theoretically could appeal if the injunction is granted, and they could win a reversal. That is on the table. So Aguilar is going to the Combine as part of a safety net, I suppose. Quarterbacks will interview with teams on February 27th, and they will work out on the field at Lucas Oil Stadium on February 28th. Now, Adam Sparks of Knox News pointed out that he will likely sit out the on-field stuff at the Combine. Joey Aguilar is still recovering from the surgery that he had. We barely talked about this, by the way. He had surgery 2 days into the new year to remove a benign tumor on his arm, which Ian Rappaport, of all people, reported was the case, something that Aguilar was dealing with for the last few months. But he, according to his court filing, as reported by Sparks, expects to be fully recovered soon, perhaps in late February. Tennessee begins spring practice in about a month. Aguilar is currently enrolled at Tennessee and is looking to play one more year. So Joey Aguilar will be at the NFL Scouting Combine. We'll see if we have any news on whether or not he will be eligible, or if Judge Haggerty says he will be eligible in 2026. Robert, people don't feel great about Joey Aguilar after that hearing. Austin Price said with Ramon and Will, I believe yesterday, that he went into that situation believing it was 90-10, slam dunk. It's in Knox County. Hard to think of a situation where Aguilar is not granted this injunction. And he left feeling, I think he said, 55-45, still in favor of Aguilar, but drastically different than how he felt before, seeing just how thorough Judge Haggerty was going to be in this situation. But that came right on the heels of Robert Whitwell, the judge in Mississippi, literally getting emotional on the bench at the end of that hearing with Trinidad Chambliss when he was telling him that he would be granted the medical hardship he was seeking from 2022. Trinidad Chambliss was signing footballs basically in the courtroom. It was all a very slam dunk home court advantage, so to speak, for Trinidad Chambliss. It became very apparent very early that that was not going to be the case for Aguilar, but why do I have this feeling that Judge Haggerty just wanted to make sure that everybody is seeing he's doing his due diligence, and then he went behind closed doors? Maybe take a couple days so people, make them think I'm mulling over it. But no, Joey's going to get his year. What are the odds that that is what's happening here in Knox County?
Okay, and a rube like me really can't understand the ways of the law, man. So if this court says, nope, he gets another year, is there any chance that he doesn't? Like, is there any rebuttal from the NCAA? Can they say mistrial or I object, or I don't know what happens?
Yeah, they can appeal.
Okay,
they,
appeal. That's the word.
Right, and judges, I would think, do not enjoy being overturned on appeal. So I think they really try to cover their bases during the initial hearing, which Judge Haggerty most certainly did. Again, he made a big show of examining every single detail of this, specifically Joey Aguilar's market value and the proof, evidence, or lack thereof, that he would indeed be missing out on a certain amount of money that goes to quarterbacks of his ilk across college football. A market value that Cam Norris, his attorney, simply could not provide. As much as we can say that Carson Beck reportedly made this at Miami, or Ty Simpson was reportedly set to make this if he did not go into the NFL draft, that's all reported figures. None of that is public domain. We don't have public contracts to look at and say for sure what a quarterback at this stage of his career at a program like Tennessee will make. Now, that also slightly confuses me because I'm not sure I understand why Tennessee cannot chime in here and say, well, no, we can tell you right now that we have a contract ready to go for Joey Agalar to make $2 million this year. And in the briefing, it states that that's what he would stand to lose out on. But Judge Haggerty really zoned in on the market value aspect of it, which I thought was interesting. So now that we know that Joey Agalar will be headed to the NFL Scouting Combine, it begs the question, what is Joey Agalar as an NFL draft prospect? He's certainly not a higher-end prospect by any means. 6'3", 225, productive player, led the SEC in passing yards in the regular season. I think it ended up ranking third all-time for a single season in Tennessee history in passing yards, 24 touchdowns in 2025. Strong deep ball. Maybe he'll be viewed as a guy that could play out as a high-end backup at best in the NFL. Maybe a late-round draft pick. I mean, off the top of your head, Robert, between Joey Agalar and Diego Pavia, where there will be a lot of discussion around Pavia, who would you say, first glance, is the better draft prospect?
Ooh.
It's an interesting discussion. Pavia, unquestionably, a better college football player than Joey Agalar. That's not even a conversation. But Agalar has the size that Diego Pavia does not. What is it, 5'9", Pavia weighed in measured at the Senior Bowl. So 6 inches of advantage for Joey Agalar. Does that offset Diego Pavia as a draft prospect?
Probably not. I would probably still say at that point, if you're drafting day 3 flyers, to take the better football player, which is Diego Pavia. Like the measurables at that point, like it's not like Joey Agalar is this physical phenom or something where it's like, oh, look how fast he can run or far he can throw. Like he's just a fine, seasoned quarterback. But I would probably still lean Diego, even if he does have his own limitations.
Yeah, I would agree.
And the workouts could help that, though. Like, I'm glad that he's going. And Buck kind of said that. Why would he go to the Combine? Like, would he still go to the Combine if he wasn't? Like, people were going to ask him. And I'm sure they will ask him about that. But it's kind of a better safe than sorry situation where if the court doesn't decide in his decision, then he doesn't have any choice. Like, it's either that or Canadian football. Go learn how to play in Europe or something.
And, of course, there's the factor of Tennessee's offense and how it translates to the National Football League. I will be fascinated if Agalar ends up doing media stuff with the rest of the quarterbacks, which, if I'm not mistaken, Robert, happens Friday, that the quarterback prospects meet with the media.
You are correct.
So, assuming Agalar will be up there at a podium or maybe doing some side stuff in a scrum, I'd be fascinated to see just what that collection of media looks like around him, what they're asking him about. Will there be more questions about his quest for another year of eligibility and where things stand in college football, or will there be more questions about what he is as a draft prospect? I don't know, but hopefully we get the chance to be face-to-face with Joey Agalar, and we'll see if we know a week from Friday what his future is at Tennessee.
If you're into lists and rankings, a good website that kind of compiles a lot of information, but I think there is some questions in the substance of some of the stuff they provide. NFL Draft Buzz has all the quarterbacks in this class ranked. They have Joey Agalar at 14, and they have Diego Pavia at 12.
Okay. Yeah, that's about right. Absolutely. I think the production is at such an advantage for Pavia enough to where it's hard for me to say Joey Agalar, especially coming from the Tennessee offense, which does, I think Tennessee fans talk themselves around that more than anything else right now with anything that has to do with Tennessee football. This idea that the offense that Tennessee deploys holds players back in the draft process. It just does. It's unquestionable. Like, two things can be true, right? Players like Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton would not have been on the map as NFL draft prospects at quarterback if not for Josh Heupel, but also the offense that they came from out of Tennessee did provide concerns for them in the NFL. Both of those things can be true, and I feel like we try to make it a one or the other situation. Tennessee's offense will hang over Joey Agalar if he is indeed a draft prospect coming up. So we'll see. I mean, it could be in 5 minutes. It could be in 3 days. It could be next week before we hear from Judge Haggerty, but hopefully we get a chance to talk to Joey when we are boots on the ground in Indy. Meanwhile, the Titans' new coordinators are boots on the ground and will be meeting with the media in a matter of minutes. Brian Daboll and Gus Bradley will have their introductory press conferences at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park starting at noon. Now, we cannot carry them live, but we will carry them for you the second they conclude. What we will do is talk about an ESPN article that lists some players that need a change of scenery and how it could impact the Titans. Next. It is 12:02. Good afternoon from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs 104.5 The Zone studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Titans are introducing coordinators Gus Bradley on defense and Brian Daboll on offense with press conferences that are beginning as we speak. You can hear those run back in a few minutes right here on The Zone. Meanwhile, Olympic men's ice hockey quarterfinal round is well underway. A couple of Predators facing off as Roman Josi in Switzerland go up against Erik Haula, UC Saros in Finland. Currently at intermission, it is Switzerland 2, Finland 0. Meanwhile, Canada on the brink, trailing Czechia 3-2 with 7 minutes to play in the third period, in what would be a massive update in Olympic men's ice hockey. Meanwhile, the U.S. takes on Philip Forsberg in Sweden, coming up with puck drop at 2:10 p.m. in Milan Cortina. Tonight, college hoops, Tennessee plays host to Oklahoma. 6 p.m. is the tip-off. You can hear the Vol Network call right here on The Zone. Vols forward J.P. Estrella doubtful for this game. And number 19, Vanderbilt is on the road at Missouri. 8 p.m. is the tip tonight. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to the show. Final hour as Gus Bradley is meeting with Titans media as we speak. The new Titans defensive coordinator, as we know, he will not call plays. That will be head coach Robert Saleh. But the Titans introducing both coordinators today. First, Gus Bradley at the podium. Second, offensive coordinator Brian Daboll will be the final act today over at the Titans facility. Now, you are accustomed to us carrying these type of press conferences live. The Titans have a new policy that we cannot carry these pressers live on the air, but we can carry them at the moment of their conclusion. So what we're going to do is Gus Bradley speaking now. We'll wrap up. We will play that press conference for you while Brian Daboll is speaking, and then we'll see if we have time, depending on how short either of them are. To be honest, Robert, I'm not sure what Bradley and Daboll's media tendencies are. Daboll, I think, a little bit short with New York media, understandably so, during his time with the Giants.
Naturally a little short.
Like
his
short?
height, yeah, like he's not that tall.
Like Diego Pavia, or
God,
what are Brian Daboll's measurables?
I really haven't done my research. I probably should have looked up his height before I made that joke. How tall do you think he is? If you were assuming,
I'd say Daboll's a very normal height for a man his age, 5'11".
5'11"?
5'10"?
Okay, 5'10". Yeah, 5'10" is correct. I thought that was being generous. I assumed he was like 5'6".
5'10" is tall.
Is it?
Only people that are 5'10" say 5'10" is tall, but yeah. 5'10" is tall.
Oh, I'm 5'11", and I think that's short, so either way.
I'm 5'10" and 3/4.
Yeah, okay. I'll let you round up.
Nobody above 6 foot uses the quarter method when they're saying their height. You never hear anybody say I'm 6'1" and,
I'm 6 foot 3 and 3/4 inches, yes.
No, you're just 6'3". But if you're 5'10", you're 5'10" and 3/4. So Gus Bradley is speaking now, Brian Daboll in a few minutes. We will carry that for you when we can. But plenty of off-season think pieces are coming out as we get ready for the start of the new league year. Yesterday, the window opened for NFL teams to tag, whether franchise or transition their players. Of course, free agency officially begins on March 11th. But today, Aaron Schatz of ESPN put out an article about the 2026 NFL offseason called Players Who Need a Change of Scenery, where he hits on one player from every NFL team. Now, the player that he lists for the Titans is one that most would probably jump to pretty quickly. It is cornerback L'Jarius Sneed. Schatz writes, remember when Sneed was considered one of the league's top cornerbacks while winning 2 Super Bowls with the Chiefs? He got a big payday with the trade to the Titans in 2024, but his 2 seasons with Tennessee have not gone as planned. Sneed has played in only 12 games because of quad injuries, and he has had off-field legal issues. Since 2024, he has recorded 49 total tackles and 0 sacks. I add 0 interceptions. A fresh start with a new team might be the thing to help Sneed get back to his glory days on the gridiron. I mean, before we even mention how that would impact the Titans, a player like Sneed, who is 29 years old, just turned 29 in January, having the dip that he had over the last couple of years, when you talk about a cornerback, especially getting back to the glory days, as Schatz said, that in and of itself, Robert, feels unlikely for a player like Snead. It doesn't mean he can't be a starting caliber corner, but to get back to what he was as Kansas City's lockdown guy feels unlikely for a guy that's getting close to 30 at that position.
Yeah, I mean, just how many stories like that can you remember of corners? He's not that good, and then he recovers and he plays well for somebody else. Like, usually those guys fall off a cliff and they're never heard from again. So, I mean, I struggle to believe that or put any merit in a change of scenery would help him relive those or regain the confidence and the play style that he had in Kansas City. But, I mean, a change of scenery would be good for him and mostly good for the Titans.
It seems like a slam dunk for the Titans to let go of Snead with the dead cap hit of just over $8 million, right? I mean, you're taking on a cap hit of $20 million in 2026 if you keep him here. What would the argument be for L'Jarius Snead staying in Tennessee? Like, that cornerback room is devoid. It's completely empty, and I still struggle to think of a good argument to keep Snead in Tennessee.
Well, maybe you want to – this is me playing devil's advocate. Maybe you want to keep him to – the struggle is the draft being after free agency and being like, well, maybe we'll wait on the draft to see if we can add guys, and if we can't, we'll keep him. You don't really have that luxury because of the position of the draft. You kind of have to say, well, we're going to get rid of him and just make it a priority to replace his snaps or get someone who can replace somewhat level of competent play. But I struggle. I mean, maybe your argument would be he's removed from the injury and he's had time to rehab, but I just can't see it. I don't think there's any type of reclamation that would be able to take place in Tennessee.
Some of the other players mentioned here by Schatz, a few quarterbacks in here for the Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa, which we've talked about this week. For the Cardinals, Kyler Murray. I wonder if we could have the same conversation we had yesterday about Tua, not just about the Titans, right, but anybody being willing to take on that contract and getting some draft capital from Miami in return, essentially as payment for taking on that contract, giving Tua a chance to start somewhere. Can that conversation shift over to Kyler Murray with his massive cap hit in 2026? Couldn't a quarterback-needy team, in fact, wouldn't Kyler Murray be a more attractive option for a quarterback-needy team, assuming he's a fit in the offense, to say, yeah, we'll take on that money in exchange for a third-round draft pick or whatever it might be?
Well, yeah, but then you worry about if he is an attractive quarterback option for someone, they're not going to trade him away with a pick for someone to take on their cap hit, right? They're going to be like, no, it's a necessary evil for you to take on this contract because you need a quarterback. Kind of like, we keep penciling Aaron Rodgers in, but say he doesn't go back to Pittsburgh and they needed someone and they feel comfortable paying that much money, I don't think that they would – I don't see any team taking on that money not to play him in the way that the Summit team would do with Tua. And when Tua is mentioned in this article, they also list that he could be traded, and they don't make any mention of someone buying a pick. So I think that was kind of a fever dream by Matt Harmon to be like, hey, this would be a cool thing if it could happen. Yeah. But I think it's far more likely that a team trades for Tua genuinely than the Dolphins trade him in a salary dump.
Yeah, it's also not something that happens, right? He had to go back to 2017 for that example with Brock Osweiler, Houston, and Cleveland, and that was kind of the first of its kind with that trade.
Also, before we move off Kyler, I kind of look at him a little, I feel like everyone else has already shipped him off to irrelevant quarterback land, but I do think that a lot of his play is salvageable. Like with the soft benching rumors last year, like, oh, we're not going to bench him, he's really hurt, and they wanted to do that to maintain value, because if you do bench him for Brissett, then you lose all value. Like, it's like, okay, why is Jacoby Brisket better than Kyler Murray would be? But I tend to think that he is a much higher upside quarterback than Tua would be, even if they have comparable contracts.
The red flags with the two of them, Tua and Kyler, are interesting. With Tua, they're obvious, right? He has to be a certain scheme fit, and the injuries are the number one red flag. He's a hit away from just being done, right? Like the next concussion, knocking on wood. But if Tua Tagovailoa suffers another concussion, then it'll be another outcry from NFL media and fans alike begging him to hang it up and retire. Meanwhile, with Kyler, the red flags are a little more nebulous, but it feels like it pops up every year, right? Kyler's commitment to the game and watching film, and that, what year was it that there was a huge huge story about the scuttlebutt, about the clause in his contract, about a certain amount of hours watching film and the amount of Call of Duty that he plays. Like, the red flags with Kyler are a bit humorous watching from afar, but
it was 2022 when he signed the deal that he's on currently.
Massive deal.
Contained an independent study addendum requiring 4 hours of weekly, unassigned, and uninterrupted film study during the season. Due to a significant backlash and embarrassment, the clause was removed shortly after, though its inclusion highlighted team concern regarding preparation habits.
And then another quarterback on this list. Again, Aaron Schatz for ESPN writing about players that need a change of scenery. J.J. McCarthy in Minnesota, which he says is likely never going to happen because it would be ridiculous for the Vikings to unload a player who still has first-round upside after just 10 starts. However, he says a fresh start for McCarthy with a different organization could be the best thing for his career. Yes, you want a young quarterback to be with an offensive mind like Kevin O'Connell for his development. However, things went so badly with McCarthy last season that it may be best to get him out of the shadow of Super Bowl winner Sam Darnold. What do you think about that? J.J. McCarthy needing a change of scenery this quickly in his NFL career, 2 years in.
I got kind of fired up about this morning. I think it's so dumb. It's like, because the whole genesis of this article is they need a change of scenery to be better than they are. Okay, what is a better spot for J.J. McCarthy than where he's at right now?
Yeah.
He's got a top 2 receiver in the NFL with Justin Jefferson. He's got probably one of the most well-thought-of offensive coaches. The dude didn't get to play at all as a rookie. He played 10 games last year. Like, he needs time on task. Trading him to Arizona so he can be Mike LaFleur's starting quarterback would behoove him. It would set him back astronomically. So, like, I'm under the assumption of you drafted him with a top 10 pick. He's not a failed head coach. You don't move off of him that quickly. I think you made the investment. You have to give him time to develop. And at the end of next year, if you decide, you know what, we're not seeing the growth we need, then make a move then. But by making a move now, you're basically admitting, hey, we can't do anything with this guy, and the value is not. So I think it's dumb to say he needs a change of scenery. The guy just needs to grow. He just needs to play more.
Some of the other interesting names on this list, Trey Hendrickson, who was in that top 50 ranking of free agents ESPN put out, the number 1 available free agent out there, and some running backs on this list, as that's been a topic for Titans fans to mull over the last couple of weeks. I heard Ramon and Will talking about the running back position this morning and the free agent options. Aaron Schatz says David Montgomery could use a change of scenery out of Detroit, as well as Breece Hall from the New York Jets. Now, there's been some reporting this week on a couple of running backs that are due. Interesting free agent class of running backs coming up here. Is Kenneth Walker, fresh off his Super Bowl MVP performance, is reportedly not going to be tagged by the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the tag for a running back is, you said, right about the $14 million mark, Robert?
14.5, that's correct.
Yeah. Would you be surprised if Seattle did not retain Kenneth Walker on a longer-term deal?
I was, but then when I had a bunch of buddies discussing it in a group chat, like, I can't believe they would let him walk, and I kind of under the assumption they just would. Like, the way the NFL values running backs now, $14.5 million. Like, I understand that Sam Darnold is kind of on a deal, but I also expect him to get a renewed contract. So it wouldn't surprise me to see him walk, and it also wouldn't surprise me to see them work out a 3-year James Cook-esque deal. But if I'm Seattle, they've been pretty good at finding guys who can play. Like, you've also got Zach Charbonnet, who, albeit is recovering from an injury. I am generally under the impression of, if these guys aren't the end-all, be-all of running backs, then let them walk and find another one and draft another one. Like, there's always cheaper options, especially when you're not necessarily dealing with the most friendly salary cap that's not a rookie quarterback deal or what have you.
I guess my argument would be, and it's interesting how this keeps coming back around, this discussion about the value of the running back position in the NFL. It came around, was it 2 seasons ago, that Derrick Henry and all these running backs had a big group chat about how they can, change the direction of the conversation around the running back position in the NFL. My question would be, which of these deals, because we've seen Derrick Henry now get paid by Baltimore. We've seen Saquon Barkley get paid by Philadelphia. We've seen James Cook hold out and then get paid by Buffalo, and he was the rushing champion in the NFL last year. Which of these recent running back deals do you look at as this waving red flag and a signal that says, hey, don't be like X team that paid this running back, and you saw how it turned out, where they could have gotten replacement level play for much cheaper? Like Alvin Kamara, I guess, in New Orleans.
Chuba Hubbard would be the one that I go to because Rico Daboll kind of stole all of his carries, and now and I don't think I would have to look it up, but I don't think it was an earth-shattering deal. But the fact that you're giving starter money to a running back, and then a guy off the free agent route comes in and takes most of his milk, that's the situation that I wouldn't want to be caught in. I wouldn't want to be married to a middle-of-the-road guy, and not saying that K9 is that, but I would need to look at other contracts to see where it's blown up in people's faces. But I think there are less examples of that because teams have been hesitant to pay running backs.
Yeah. They've been selective about it, but I feel like the ones that have, it's worked out, and it's lined up with the identity of those teams. And you have Zach Charbonnet coming back for Seattle next year. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Kenneth Walker. Meanwhile, Breece Hall has been continuously brought up as a potential free agent option for the Titans. Obviously played for Robert Saleh in New York, a great pass catcher out of the backfield. It's been reported that the Jets are going to place some type of tag, whether that's the franchise tag or transition tag, on Breece Hall. So we'll see how that discussion develops throughout the course of the offseason. Gus Bradley has stepped off the podium. Brian Daboll is set to step up to it, but we are going to play defensive coordinator Gus Bradley's remarks for you when we come back on 104.5 The Zone. So Titans' new defensive coordinator, Gus Bradley, has stepped down from the podium. Brian Daboll has stepped up to it. We cannot carry Daboll live, but we can run back what we heard from Bradley as he takes over. Will not call plays under Robert Saleh, but does join this coaching staff as one of multiple former NFL head coaches on it. And we will go to the Titans facility to hear from Titans defensive coordinator Gus Bradley.
What about this opportunity made it attractive to you, and what are you looking for to continue to work with?
Well, I mean, I think we all know that relationships are important. I mean, Robert Saleh and I have known each other for many years, had a chance to work with him last year. And it was a great experience. And I think we have a lot of the same philosophies, although we're different. And I think that mixture kind of has that proper tension. And, we had a chance to kind of tear apart the defense last year, look at things we didn't want to do and what we did want to do based on our experience at different places, and then just kind of incorporate it there. And just to keep that part of it going, I think was very intriguing to me.
Terry McCormick, Main Street Media. What about this job intrigues you in terms of knowing that Robert's going to call the defense, and what does that make your role on game day and throughout the week?
Yeah, I think I don't want to say it's ego is not involved. I think everybody wants to be valued in the organization or valued on the team. And I think that's where I'm at right now, is just I really enjoyed last year. I mean, I love football, love looking at scheme, love all parts of it. And there's a great deal amount of trust with Robert and I. So I think it'd be different if it was maybe on game day you were more of a spectator. All right, done all the work, now he just calls it and you sit back. But that's not what it was like last year. There was constant communication between Robert and I throughout the game. We talked about things, so that part of it, I think, knowing that, hey, we have constant communication, looking at things as they develop and what we want to get to, made it very attractive.
Ron Daboll, ESPN. You've been with Robert Saleh for quite some time. You've known him for some time. How have you seen him grow just over the years, especially after the experience with the kids?
I figured that would come up because, here he is. We hired him as a quality control coach back in 2011 in Seattle, and to have him as a quality control coach and then go to Jacksonville, bring him on as a linebacker coach. And then when I went to the Chargers, he was going to come as the linebacker coach until Kyle Shanahan called, and we talked, and he had a chance to interview there. So, I've seen him, for that first 7-8 years, in the early, 2011, 12, 13, in that time frame. And then we were apart, but had constant communication. But I just think that, where he's grown from a linebacker coach to a coordinator, I think his greatest asset is he really does see the big picture. I mean, he is a big picture guy. Hey, this is how I see it. He's always trying to stay a step or two ahead of the game. That's what's cool about him. And I think he does a great job relating to the players. Great energy, enthusiasm for the game, and I think it rubs off on the players and the coaches.
Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com. Can you talk us through kind of end and edge, what you guys are looking for, kind of body-wise and skill-wise, from those two positions, and how different one side might look from the other?
I think that just talking in general terms, I think that one end is maybe an end on first and second down, and then might have the ability to slide inside on third down, where the other end is maybe a true rusher. He's on the end, first and second down and third down as well.
And in the dirt most of the time?
That's what we're looking at, all those things right now. What's the best for our personnel? And, we're in the beginning stages of just looking at that big picture.
Hey guys, Nick Suss with Tennessee. And when you bring up the stylistic similarities, differences between you and Robert, can you kind of go toward that, about that? What is the push and pull? What do you guys fundamentally agree on, and what are the places that kind of...
Yeah, I think fundamentally, obviously the system we agree on. I think going about, I'm very... he's look at the big picture, I'll tear apart, look at all the little things that go along with it, and say, hey, how does this affect this portion if we do this? Look at, deeper into it. And he provides the big picture. Now, to say that he doesn't look at that part of it, that'd be inaccurate. But I think as we work together, it kind of evolved more towards that.
Steve Lehman from News Channel 5. How do you view your role in terms of the game planning within the week, and then specifically what happens on game day? And do you think it changes much from San Francisco to now, given he now has the huge umbrella of head coach?
I think that, it was always, let's look at all aspects, whether it's first and second down, third down, red zone. And I'll throw out ideas. Hey, Gus, what are your thoughts in the red zone? What are your thoughts on third down? Looking at film, and then we throw him out there. But obviously, he's the decision maker. There's things last year that came up that he'd say, that's a good thought, but I really want to go in this direction. And it's like, that's great. And then there's sometimes it would stick. So I think it was more just to keep him, say, let's challenge each other. Well, always believer, I think within the organization, you challenge one another, but never attack, never make it personal. But in order to get better, you have to have challenges. And I think that's where there's great trust amongst us, that we know it's not coming from a bad place, it's coming from a great place. And as you know, camaraderie amongst the staff is so important. And I think when you have that trust, when you don't have to worry about that part of it, it really opens the door to being challenged.
Do you think it has to change at all now that he's the head coach? Do you have to take a little bit more of a ownership?
No, he had a lot on his plate last year, visiting with Kyle, because Kyle and him were really close. So, I think that'll evolve, whatever that role looks like or continues to grow to be, as far as the input and things like that. But I'm really at a good stage as far as that. I think it's just a part of, our job is to serve the head coach, serve this team, serve, the organization, and go about it that way. And I think during my career, that's what I seem to operate best, when I have that kind of a mindset.
Coach, and seeing Robert now with his second chance, do you think the league's kind of sorting through like the idea of a play calling head coach versus a program building head coach? And how do you kind of view where that's going?
It's funny you say that, because after we were together for that period of time in Jacksonville, and then when we were separate, we talked. But the experience he had in the Jets, and then when I was with him this past year, I think, in conversations with him, how he saw the big picture, not only as a defense, but as a team, and the conversations he had with Kyle, I think it was like, it wouldn't shock me if he got another opportunity. There's guys that you say, boy, he needs to be a head coach. If given the opportunity, I think he would do really well. I think that part was first and foremost being with him last year. I saw that part of him. Now, the play calling part of it too, I think that's part of it with him. That'd be a great question for him. But I think when you're a play caller, you just feel even more a part of it. You're with them on that. And that's how I think when Robert does that, he operates really well. And I think that's what he wanted to get back to.
Jim White with TennesseeTitans.com. What do you want the defense to be known for week in and week out, just consistently what you do?
Well, the pitcher is a fast and violent defense, so, I don't think you're going to see 45 different coverages, 50 different blitzes. If we can do that and still play fast and violent, we'll do it. But not at the expense of one of those two. So I think it's very important that our players go out there. We've always had a defense that we felt like guys could come in early in their stage, early in their career and play. And we want to keep that part of it open. But the game is evolving. I mean, what it looked like 5 years ago to what it is now, is completely different. So to have those adjustables, the things that you need, and the coverage principles and pressures is important. We're growing in that area, but always with that in the back of our mind, never at the expense of being fast and violent.
Breeze, A to Z Sports. You emphasize the speed. Robert emphasized the speed and the violence. T'Vondre Sweat is a guy this team has put a lot of resources into. You guys historically run a 4-3, and he's more of a 3-4 nose. His size is the selling point. But is there a role for somebody like that in your defense?
Well, I think, to be honest with you right now, I mean, we're talking about staff. We're going through scheme. We're, giving the scouts a good idea what each position looks like. Had conversations. We're really excited about all the guys. And that's just, I've always believed that when you come into a new situation, the previous staff has done a good job. There's obviously some good things that have taken place with them. Our job is to continue to add to what they've already built and take it to another level. And also, I think that's very important as coaching staff. We give the players a fresh start. I think in the years I've done it, when a new staff comes in, that's what they're hoping for. Man, I just hope I have a fresh start, that you don't talk to everybody in the building, get all these notions of who I am and what I'm all about, and then you base your opinion off of that rather than just meet me, watch me play, and then make judgment. And so I'm really trying to stay in that world. I think Robert is too, to try to protect that part of it, to say, let's get to know them. We're excited about everybody in the building, and let's give them that fresh start. And let's see what takes place.
The evolution of the game. Back in the day with Seattle, your cover 3, it gave offenses fits. As they adjusted, how have you started to adjust to that adjustment that they've...
Well, without getting into too much detail, you're accurate. I think there's, I think even if you look at, people would assume, oh, it's just cover 3. Well, that was back then, but as time has gone on, there's more things that have, been added to the package. But I think that's what last year we looked at and said, all right, how do we, what are things we're going to take out of the package, and what are we going to add, that will, that'll help us, be more efficient on defense and give us a chance to be successful.
Lauren Walsh with WSMV Sports. How much do you tailor a defensive scheme to certain players' strengths, some of the key returners on this roster, versus concepts that you and Robert want to continue to integrate?
It's a great question. I think you got to be flexible because it is all about utilizing the skill set of the player. So if you see a player is a really good blitzer, a nickel corner is a really good blitzer, well, you should have some blitzes for him, if that's what he does well. So we'll take a look at everybody's skill set, see what they do well, and then try to utilize their skill set and along within the scheme. But that's always something that we're going to take a good look at to see what they're good at and what their strengths are, and then put them in those positions.
Just from a numbers standpoint, the cornerback position is one of great need on this team. What are you looking for in the draft and in free agency at that position? What's your type of cornerback?
Right. I think that's, again, without getting into too much detail about that, I think when we're talking with the scouts, it's not just a certain body type or all this. It's more of a generic, what I'm going to tell you and not get it out there. I think that we just show them clips over and over again of the skill set that we're looking for. Hey, we're going to ask them to do these 5 things, okay? And so we show those things to the scouts. This is what we're looking for, someone that can provide us with the ability to do this kind of skill set, and then we go from there. So I can appreciate that question, but not to get in too much detail. I'll handle it that way.
What's appealing to you, Coach Chris Ayers at Channel 4? What's appealing to you about a new opportunity at this stage in your career?
I think that you always want to be someplace where you're valued, right? I think all of us do that. And I think the relationship that Robert and I know in the offseason, looking at other things going on, when Tennessee came up, it was always held in high regard. And that part was very intriguing, like the organization, the facilities, and, the people they have in place. There was a lot of positives. Now, there are a lot of good people, in my belief, in the NFL. And I think you go to a lot of places. But it was extremely positive with the Tennessee. And, that's what I'm excited about, continue to add value to a place that, is held in high regard across the league.
Ideal for everyone, but how much does it trigger an ideal scenario for you if you're able to rush 4, get home with 4? We've seen a couple Super Bowls in a row here where the winning team might have blitzed some, but their base was that they could get home.
Well, I think that, any defensive coordinator would say if you have the ability to affect the quarterback with 4, it gives you so many more options in the back end. So, I don't think anybody would shy away from that if they had that ability. But again, looking at the skill set, what do we have? You got to be able to affect the quarterback. So however we have to do it, I think that's going to be something that's always in our mindset.
When you played the Titans late in the season, Corey Curtis was news too, by the way.
Sure.
I heard Coach Shanahan was obsessed with Jeffrey Simmons and what he was going to do. How much of what you're doing starts with 98 on a weekly basis? Well,
you talk about holding a player in high regard, right? Everything you hear about him, how he practices, how he works, the effect he has in this building, what kind of a teammate he is. We've had conversation, but that's another one. I tried to tell Jeffrey too. I said, man, we're going to give you a fresh start too, but I don't know how fresh that's going to be. We know a lot about him, but I think we're just excited, that he's here and part of us, and he'll obviously someone that we're very excited to be coaching.
Go ahead, Dan. Thank you. What expectations have been communicated to you from Robert or from the front office about the speed of this turnaround? What is the urgency, I guess?
I've not had any of those conversations, but probably better with Robert.
Franchises like this before that are coming out of a low period, what is, in your experience, the best?
Well, I mean, I think probably the head coach. I can just speak for when I was the head coach. I think that you want your assistant coaches to have the mindset, don't worry about that. Just make sure your players get better. You know, do everything you can that they play at the highest level, that we utilize their skill set, that if we're doing something wrong, we get it corrected. Like, put all that attention into that and let us worry about, you know, how fast this is going to take place. So, that's really where talking to our coaching staff and where they're at and how my mindset is at, that's for them to decide. Right now, we just got to, get our coaches caught up in the scheme that we want in place, and then make sure that we visit with our players and get to know them as fast as we can.
Coached a ton of players in this league. I mean, how would you want your players to describe what you're like on a day-to-day basis, teaching them, coaching them?
I think consistency creates credibility. So I think that, someone that will tell the truth, hey, we didn't play well. Well, let's tell the truth. We played well. Let's tell the truth. But they're going to consistently know what they're going to get. I would say by nature, I am a 85 and sunny type guy, every day. I'm excited about the opportunity. So, I mean, there's times when you can flip, and obviously if there's things not working well, but, I think what are the 4 things they did well? Now, what are the 2 things we need to improve on type of person? Hey, let's not miss the good things. Let's make sure that we point those things out because, they'll be repeated. But we also, it's a big part of it is accountability. And we know what this standard looks like, and I think that's what Robert and I have it. We have enough experience together and know what it should look like, that if it doesn't look like that, that's the accountability piece.
Julian Minnesota News 2 here in Nashville. You've been in the head coaching position before. Brian has as well. How much do you think that's going to help Robert in his second stint to lean on you guys, knowing that you guys have all sat in that chair before?
I think that, we just have normal conversations about everything. But one thing you'll find out about Robert, he is pretty in tune to his vision. He has a pretty good idea, especially now, the experience he had, what it needs to look like, what we need to do. And so, I'm sure there'll be questions come up, but it's not like you would think. It's, he's handling that. He knows the direction he wants to go. I'm ready, after being with him last year, even more convicted on knowing that aspect. So I'm sure we'll have conversations about it, but for the most part, he really has a really good idea of the standard. And I've always said this with Robert. He's always been a guy that I look at and I said, one of the, the better leaders create this, the standard and the pace of the organization. And that's what he did in San Francisco. That's wherever he's been. So I anticipate no different here.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that is new Titans defensive coordinator Gus Bradley meeting with the media for the first time. Brian Daboll stepped up right after. We will not have time to play Daboll today. Maybe we'll play some of it tomorrow, but we'll wrap up the show, do some polls next. All right, so Gus Bradley and Brian Daboll's introductory press conferences as new Titans coordinators are over. You heard from Bradley. We'll hear some from Daboll tomorrow when Buck will make his way back. And who knows? Maybe we get a chance to talk to either of them next week in Indianapolis when we head up after the show on Monday. So plenty of time to react to it tomorrow. Meanwhile, things are heating up, Robert, at the Olympics in Milan Cortina. Speaking of heating up, we are, of course, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Visit any one of their Middle Tennessee locations. Pick up, dine-in, or delivery. Go to HattieB.com and download the Hattie B's app. Canada escaping a shocking upset. They were trailing Czechia late in the third, tied it up, went to overtime, end up winning in OT 4-3, despite Sidney Crosby leaving the game with a lower body injury. Canada moves on to the semifinal. Could be a crash course between the U.S. and Canada in the gold medal game, but the U.S. has to beat Sweden today at 2:10, and it looks as though Switzerland is in the driver's seat. Roman Jossi's squad leading Finland and UC Saros 2-0 as they get ready for the start of the third period. So, plenty of action going on in the Olympics. Titans coordinators' media availability is over, and we have officially introduced the new Titans coaching staff, head coach and coordinators. By the way, there was a little bit of news that we kind of skipped over here. Not sure if we hit on it at any point this week, but the Las Vegas Raiders scooped up Titans defensive assistant Travis Smith earlier this week. The Titans let him go. And Pro Football Talk reported today that the Raiders are interviewing Ben Bloom to be their linebackers coach. So Bloom was the outside linebackers coach under Brian Callahan. He was retained. He was part of that release the Titans put out announcing the new coaching staff on the defensive staff, but the Raiders are poking around. So it could be another holdover from the Callahan era that gets scooped up by Vegas. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's do some polls.
The polls brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. What was the dumbest thing in sports? A number of responses. Some people citing the logo that leaked earlier this week. Some people talking about the Tua conversation, about the Titans buying a draft pick. But this one, where Buck probably stole his dumbest thing in sports from, Michael Jordan. Getting the ice out of that little boy's shorts. He wasn't touching no little boys. He wasn't. He wasn't doing nothing nefarious. Everybody calm down. He just likes to gamble. That's the biggest question mark you can point at that dude.
That was a little ridiculous.
What's the worst infidelity story in sports? Eldon English goes with Steve McNair. Dewey Cheatham and House says the two Yankee pitchers that swapped wives. That was 50 minutes ago. I assume he was listening to the show. I would appreciate that.
To hear you say it and then go on and reply to the poll with it is crazy.
Oh, it's got to be those two. I don't know if you guys have heard this yet. But I would go with the Yankees swapping wives. Wife swap, also incredible show. What's the biggest question Brian Daboll has to answer at his first Titans presser? Eldon English, how is he going to make Cam Ward a Hall of Famer? I don't know. That's maybe a bridge too far, but we can dream. How can we use Cam differently than the precious OC? I'm not sure what he's alluding to there, but I think he answered those questions and more. I'm sure we'll dive into that tomorrow on the show.
Yeah, the number one, I'd love to hear a coach answer that question. How can you make this player a Hall of Fame quarterback? But, I mean, maybe he hit on it. Again, we didn't get a chance to carry it live. We'll play some tomorrow. But I'm fascinated at the way that Brian Daboll views Cam Ward as a runner, with how much he's leaned into his quarterback strengths over the course of his career. There's been a common trend there, right? Jalen Hurts at Alabama, Josh Allen in Buffalo, Daniel Jones with the New York Giants, Jackson Dart on top of that, even if just for a few games. But the utilization of their legs, all of them, mobile quarterbacks, a huge part of their game. Not necessarily the case with Cam Ward in terms of racking up rush yards in a season. I'd be curious to hear his take on the way he approaches his method of trying to cater to his quarterback's biggest strengths.
Yeah, Bucks tweeted out a number of the clips from Daboll, but maybe the most notable, a quote from him, "Tighten up," as they say.
as they say.
Yeah, as you say, buddy, you better get ready to tighten up.
Are those the polls?
Those are the polls.
That is the show. So looking forward to being in Indianapolis next week and seeing the new Titans coaching staff in action, talking to prospects throughout the course of the Combine. Meanwhile, we'll be back at it tomorrow. We'll play more from Brian Daboll's press conference and cover 2. I've got you covered coming up next.